Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to some Full Metal Demon Muramasa. We recently had an encounter with the Shogun and our sister, Hikaru, of course. That was certainly an interesting encounter, and we somehow managed to not die. And guess what? We didn't end up even killing the Shogun. That's good. It's like a win-win for all of us, right? We didn't have to kill the Shogun. He died anyway, as you can see in this text. This is between Chachamaru and the Shogun, so he's gone. Good times. Now, we're shouting we did it. Did we somehow beat Ginsego? I mean, we did get the cinematics for it. At least the ones that were, like, attached to the Ichijo route for when we beat it. So if we killed Ginsego, does that mean we still have to kill someone? We kill our dad in exchange for her life? I mean, he'd probably accept that as he might accept that as a trade. I don't know. We only have so many people we can take down, and it's not like our character's in love with Chachamaru. I guess we'll just see where we're going from here. We did it? Apparently so. Yeah, she seems as shocked as I am. For the first time, my malice has reached the Silver Demon. Ginsego struck with her Ladybug Comet the meteoric heel kick that has blasted me from the sky time and again. And I responded by launching my own body from Muramasa's railgun. It was close, too close. If I'd been a split second slower or a nanometer off course, it would have failed. But it didn't fail. I felt my fist hit home. It worked! And as the echoes of her gravity field fade and the air around me grows quiet and still, I scan the area for any sign of my foe. Nothing. Ginsego is nowhere to be seen. Is it over? Did I really do it? Did I really? Take care of Hikaru, Kageyaki. Don't forget your promise. Yeah, we sort of did that. I mean, she's dead now. Look out! Are we falling to the ground? What? Someone's attacking me? How? Who? We caught Ginsego, but we're still losing? Magnificent. Magnificent, a glorious performance. I had no idea you'd come so far. Allow me to apologize for underestimating you. She's still there, and uninjured. She's alive, yep, alive and undamaged. That was the mightiest attack I'd ever unleashed, the fullest expression of my skill and strength, and yet... it was useless? Don't be silly, your attack was positively delightful. Look! Ginsego taps a finger against her chest, and there on the surface of the armor is a single shallow crack. Impossible. My entire body is numb from the impact, and she got away with just a scratch? Extraordinary. This is the first time anyone's broken through my shield and touched my armor. This feeling. My skin burns, my blood boils, and my heart races. So this is what it is to be wounded to do battle. This is what it is to make love, of course. Ginsego howls in ecstasy, her left hand stroking the tiny crack in her armor as a mother would the skin of her babe. Did she say shield? She's been fighting with a shield up this whole time? Muramasa's disbelieving cry perfectly mirrors my own thoughts. The shield Hikaru mentioned is likely quite similar to our electromagnetic barrier. That she too possesses a defense comes as no surprise whatsoever. However, if she indeed has been fighting with her shield up this whole time, Muramasa's electromagnetic barrier demands a tremendous amount of heat. Hence, while the barrier's active energy is shunted away from other abilities such as flight and self-repair. That's why we only activate it at the moment of impact to deflect an attack we already know is coming. If we were to maintain our barrier at all times, we'd of course be protected from any conceivable attack, even those that would normally catch us by surprise, but in exchange we'd take a massive loss of power to all other functions. I doubt we could even remain airborne for long. In other words... All the times we fought Ginsego, she's only been wielding a fraction of her power?
冗談きつ
That's
い
not funny. Despite the seeming levity of the words, Muramasa's voice carries an unmistakable tone of despair. This is a nightmare, a goddamn nightmare.
ようやくここまで来てくれたな影焼光の立つところへ
You finally reached me, Kageaki. Now we stand as equals.
お前相手にこんなものはもはや無粋これよりは素肌にて迎えよう
An opponent of your caliber deserves better than this clumsy shield. Let's dance, skin to skin, cheek to cheek. Gravity wall is gone. She dispelled it?
正真正銘の村正光つまらんだし惜しみはもうなしだ
And now you face the true Muramasa Hikaru. No more holding back. Uh-oh. I think we're in trouble. This is like when you accidentally find out on NG Plus the boss has a new final form. You like beat his final form and you're like, we're done, we got it. And it's like, oh no, oh no. Oh no, the boss isn't dead, what's happening? Oh boy.
味わえ楽しめ行くぞ影焼
Taste my joy, feel my hunger, here I come, Kageaki. Kageaki, let's go. Don't let despair overwhelm you. There's no greater shame than to accept defeat before the battle's even been joined. Ginsego's unprotected now. One more hit and this time will destroy her. We didn't even get a line of dialogue in. There was a line of dialogue coming and now we're flying. What? Like, there was a line of dialogue coming out from our character. I didn't see what it was, but it's gone now. I'm flying. Backward. But why? Did I take a hit? So I would feel something... I would... What's going on? Why am I being tossed around like a ragdoll? What's this? What is this? But how? No! Muramasa? Are we under attack? Where? Where is Ginsei? Ginsego also probably just karate chopping you for fun. There. Ginsego is there, hanging motionless in the sky. Is she just using her gravity to attack? An object in flight must remain in motion in order to escape the pull of the earth. Excepting only airships and a few species of bird and insect, all things in the sky obey this law. Even those that are able to hover can only do so for a limited time. But look at Ginsego just standing there, as steady as if there were a glass floor beneath her feet. Perhaps sensing my horrified stare, this rejection of reason cast in silver throws an indulgent smile my way. Did I like the shot of your puppy? Yeah, it was cute. It was a good dog. Indulgent smile my way, okay. An arm lifts, the movement liquid, and the monster begins to dance. The dance is a ballet, the Nutcracker, Act 2, Le Chocolat. Vigorous and playful, graceful and sure-footed, she puts the original masterpiece to shame. And the stage upon which she steps so lightly? The empty void of the sky. Have I wandered into Alice's Wonderland? I'd like a ticket back, Liz.
これぞ真のグラビトンコントロール
The true power of graviton control.
真の飛行というものだ飛行とは少々わけが違うぞ
Total freedom of motion in flight. It's a bit different from the swimming you're used to. Musha flight is often likened to the motions of a swimmer, so much so in fact that Musha trainees practice underwater to prepare them for the air. And indeed, Ginsego's flight has departed from anything that resembles swimming, far more than just a bit.
この前の相手ができるか影焼
Now, Kageaki, let's see if you can keep up with my death. Oh, she attacked. I see nothing, understand nothing, this simply can't be. Ginsego's speed's always been greater than I could handle, but even all the countless times I failed to move a finger before she swatted me from the sky, I was always able to realize I'd been attacked. Even if the realization came only after the fact. And now even that meager comfort is denied me. When did she hit me? Where did it come from? What sort of attack was it? Even looking back, I haven't a clue. How is this possible? She called us equals and sang with joy that I'd reached her at last. That was all lies. Lies. I haven't reached anything. There's still a world of strength between us. My eyes are useless now. They can't perceive her movements, nor even the after image of her movements. Then don't look. If your eyes so purpose, ignore them. You have no other tools to aid you. Sound? Smell? No. Senses are useless. Instinct is useless. Feel the flow. At a level beyond the 5 material senses, the flow of battle itself runs clear and true. If I can but join myself to this flow, I'll perceive my enemy's every action without the need for ears or eyes. I'll know her moves even as she does. The supreme state is said to be the final step in a warrior's training, the fabled zenith of perfection, attainable only by the greatest masters and sages. I hardly qualify. Well, come on, man. Time to reach Ultra Instinct. If you can't see him, you may as well automatically react to him without seeing him. However, without it, I can't even put up a fight. Damn, guy's in the same spot Goku was. Except he's not fighting someone as fast or strong, right? Remember what Father said? What was his lesson? Forget. Father. Forget. Say the secret scrolls of the Yoshino Onryu. Forget sight, forget sound, forget sense, forget mind. Sever yourself from the world and let everything be meaningless as dust in the wind. My man still hasn't learned that. That's why he still follows the law of balance. Muso. The absence of thought. Think nothing, know everything. Forsake all emotion and doubt, all desire, and your soul will perceive the whole of creation. Become the perfect Buddhist warrior. Forget. Can I do it? Can I pluck my own heart from my chest and fling it into the bottomless void?
I
knew you would use it to kill my mother. And that's a tough one to forget. Why? Why? Hikaru!
そうだ影明、俺の名を呼べ。
That's it, Kaguya. Call my name.
叫べ、囁け、歌え。
In the depths of your soul, with every fiber of your being.
俺を
Call to me.
光！
She's having too much fun.
今日のお前はいつにも増して悩ましい。官能の抑えが効かなくなる。
Your desperation today is sweeter than ever. My heart cries out for more, more, more.
見せてやろう。
Behold.
お前の思いに応えてやろう。この光の極限を見せてやろう。
I'll answer your passion with all my power. I'll show you the full might of Hikaru.
新規修練
Graviton charge. No, Mito, run. How can I run? I have to. What? I think we know what we're seeing here. A black storm? What is that? What's happening? Just conjuring a black hole. Suddenly my vision warped. Everything I see appears distorted as if viewed through a desert haze. But somehow I know that more than light is being bent. Space itself has gone mad. What? Copies of myself, tens upon hundreds of them. All identical to my Muramasa, but no two are in the exact same position. Each appears to have moved from the last. An arm raised, a leg turned, almost as if I were looking backward or forward through time. World is being twisted, I think. All of it. What's this? I choke out a reflexive question to which Muramasa responds with like disbelief. Wait, don't I have that backward? I could have sworn I only asked my question after Muramasa answered it. If I'm not mistaken, the answer came from that Muramasa, not this one. What does that mean? Are time and space being torn apart? At last,
開幕だ。
it begins! At the center of the chaos, the Conqueror speaks. Her voice is that of an angelic herald, joyfully proclaiming the end of days.
ブラックホール、フェアリーズ、
Black hole fairies. Alright. Oh no, this isn't good. It's pulling us in. I don't know what it is, but I know if it catches us, we're done for.
Muramasa, ガットリ全力で離脱する
Full power to engines, break us free, Muramasa!
了解
Right. We can't break free. Magnetic Excel?
なんで
What? This power, I understand now. Escape is impossible, and nothing I can do will free us from the Maelstrom's pull. I've seen this before. In Gurren Lagann, all you have to do is just step on the engines. They got out of a tougher spot, right? A black hole's nothing. And no wonder, the very space through which we're flying is being sucked into the void.
奪われる
Storm has captured more than just me. Objects rush by with dizzying speed, ripped from the ground far below. Trees, buildings, cars, musha, massive chunks of dirt and rock. And what are those? Corpses? They plunge into the gaping black mouth and are consumed. Long before they reach the thing's center, some unimaginable force tears them apart.
これが神秘の地獄
The howling void Mother spoke of.
見ろ
It seems like opening a black hole above Kamakura was not a great idea. At least for anyone living inside of it. Not that Kinsego actually cares.
切るぞ
Give me a railgun, boys!
どこ
There's no target.
ここだ
This is our target.
抜け出せないのなら切り破るのみ
If we can't run, we'll have to cut ourselves out.
了解
Got it. No magnetic acceleration? I guess you're not near metal? Even in the blackest pit of hell, our sword of light will carve us a path to freedom. He's gonna go for a railgun instead? I didn't think railgun gave us propulsion. Are you swinging it backwards or forward? Oh, you see what?
レールガン爆発
Railgun, Maga. Alright. Go for it, dude. I feel like it's I feel like that may not work. It's gone. The blazing sword that was to be our salvation vanished utterly, leaving not a twinkle in the black. Even light? Even light can't escape the darkness? Of course, black holes warp light.
どうだ影焼
What say you,
この力
Kageaki?
光の力は
You tremble in awe at the might of Hikaru? As I slide helplessly into the void, the Conqueror's voice speaks to me from everywhere at once.
俺はこの部をさらに極めるさらに高みへ行くぞ
I'll take this power to even greater heights.
そして神の座へ登る
And with it, I'll win my godhood. You would have won if he had a drill instead of a katana. Maybe.
影焼忘れたか
The
お
drill
前が
Kageaki?
光に神なるものを教えてくれたのだ
It was you who taught me the nature of the gods.
人が母に背いて父を奪えば人の方に背くしかし神には神の方がありこれを許す故に俺は万人を打倒する地球の部を証明する人を超え神を称する
So say the laws of man, but gods have their own laws and all is permitted them. Therefore I will lay the world of man to ruin, and by the right of martial primacy, the throne of heaven shall be mine. Hello, my friends.
神となれば我が望みは正当化されよう人の世を壊せば人の方に囚われる父は解放されよう
As a god, my actions will be lawful, and with mankind gone, my father will be free from the bonds of morality.
妨げる何者もなく光は父に向き合える母に奪われた父を取り戻せる
No more will any power divide us. As mother stole my father from me, I shall steal him back.
これが光の道だ
That's just the will of Hikaru. I love how crazy she is. It's great. It's great. It makes her so fun. Hikaru's father. Her stolen father.
飽きたか貴様は実に わしを失望させるために現れたかのような男であった。
Akitaka, I can only assume you were put on this earth for no other reason than to disappoint me.
牧村とか言ったか。あのようなどこの地毛とも知れぬくだらん女に身をかけよって。貴様は己と立場と役目を心得ておらなんだか。
Makimura, was it you sacrificed yourself to save a nurse? Tell me, did you forget your duty in a moment of madness, or did you simply not care?
わしが鬼畜の所業をなすは貴様の不始末に補いをつけるため。
It's your actions
す
that
べ
have
ては
forced
身
me
から
to
出た錆と思え。
choose the unthinkable. You have no one but yourself to blame.
何もかも仰せの通り。
Hey,
されどご本家。
I beg you, sir, not this.
黙れ。逆頭に口を聞くな。貴様などの言葉に今さらビタ一文の価値でもあると思うか。
Be silent. You betrayed my trust for the last time. Your words are worth less than nothing.
クズめが。
You scum.
影明、ここへ参れ。
Kageaki, come here.
貴様には何の恨みもない。かような真似を命じるのが心苦しくもある。だが今となってはこの愚か者に拾われた運命を嘆いてもらうよりないわ。
I bear you no ill will, boy. It pains me greatly to order you to do this, but given the severity of the situation, I'm afraid your only option is to accept it and curse whatever fate decreed you be adopted by such a fool.
貴様が事の決着をつけよ。
You must answer for this failure.
この能なし秋高と港家との縁を貴様の手で断ち切るのだ。
With your own hand, this man is useless to us now. With your own hands, sever the last bond tying him to your family. Father.
秋高様。許せ。
Forgive me,
影
Kageaki.
明。秋高様。
Father.
スバル様。光る。
Hikaru, you.
お前は。
And then the darkness takes me. This guy's back. You gotta be joking. And he's just like, marvelous, marvelous. It's Pantsu guy. Alright.
例えて言うなら、ある晴れた昼下がり、市場へ続く道を点々と落ちているパンツを拾いながら歩いていた僕は、無垢な下半身を惜しげもなく晒している美しい少女と出会い、恋に落ち。
It's like you're walking through the market on a fine spring day following a trail of fallen panties, and the trail leads you to a beautiful young lady whose innocent nether regions are bare to the world.
ゆくゆくは大企業の社長にしてやるという父の誘いを断って、2泊3日の湯煙殺人ツアーに出航してみたものの、そこはパンツを履く者と履かない者が死闘する運命の決戦場。
What? What? The two of you fall in love? You refuse your father's offer to succeed him as the head of a major corporation in order to take your darling on a 3-day murder cruise. When you get to your destination, you find the ultimate battlefield of ultimate destiny, where the pantsed and pantsless battle for dominion over the earth? What?
それほどまでに素晴らしい。
That's how marvelous this is.
どういう例えなのでしょうか。
I'm not sure I follow the comparison.
例えようもないというフィーリング路線で理解してくれれば結構だ、上安祭。
That's precisely it. Nothing can describe the wonder of this moment, Joan.
おっと、
Oh,
バ
pardon.
ルトロメオと呼ぶべきかな。
You prefer Bartholomew, don't you?
どちらでも。しかし、洗礼名で呼ばれる機会は、私にとって貴重なものではあります。
As you please. I do, however, cherish the few opportunities I have to use my Christian name.
ならバルトロメオ、君もここは踊り上がってパンツを脱いでも良い場面だよ。
Well, Bartholomew, this is where you tear off your underwear while jumping for joy.
つまり、あれがそうなのですね。
In other words, that's what we've been waiting for.
オッペンハイマー君が予見したコラプス。まあ、あくまで疑似的なものではあるが、我々の求めていた現象に間違いない。
Indeed. The stellar collapse had Oppenheimer predicted, or a very close approximation of it anyway.
ようやくこの目で見ることができた。
I've seen it with my own eyes.
しかしウォルフ教授、あれはどうやら
But
収まっ
Professor,
てゆくよう
why,
に見
it
えま
seems to be
す。
dying down.
本当だ。今日のところは気が済んだらしいね。
I suppose she's had her fun for today.
これでは何も起きません。
Nothing will happen like this.
ああ、そうとも。こんなものでは全く足りないよ。
Brick you are, that still isn't enough power.
だから我々があれを完成まで導くんだ。
Which is why we must help her complete it.
超重力の渦。
The ultimate gravitic storm.
そう。この地球上に暗黒の渦を創造する。
Will summon the void itself into this world.
そのための6原、そのための THQ、そのための銀星号。
That's what Rokuhara is for, what GHQ is for, and what Ginsego's for. Alright.
そのための我々。
Is he gonna finish the sentence? He just said Soratare Ware, right?
そのための
Amino.
我々。
And that is what we, the Gruna Dragon Gesellschaft, the Green Dragon Society, are for.
はい。
Indeed. Indeed.
黒き渦が現れるとき、道は開く。
When the black pit swallows the land, the path will open.
我々は神に出会うのだ。
And we will come face to face with the Lord.
アーメン。
Amen. Well, looks like she's got some fans.
あれが銀星号。
That's Ginsego.
あれが光る。
That's Hikaru.
あいつの産んだ
That's the child she...
娘か。
This guy's alive somehow. How is he not dead? Or did we somehow miss the city? I thought he said buildings were getting sucked in. How is that guy still alive?
雨土初めて開けし時、高間の原になりませる神の名は雨のみなか主の神、次に高見むす日の神、次に神むす日の神。
The names of the deities that were born in the plane of high heaven when heaven and earth first began were Ame no Minakanushi no Kami. Next, the Kani Mushi no Kami. Next, Kami Mushi no Kami.
この山中の神は皆一人神となりまして身を隠したまいき。
These three deities were all born alone and hid their persons. Why? How would they know to hide? Why would they hide?
次に国若く浮きし油のごとくしてクラゲな
What would there be to
ス
hide
タダ
from?
よ経るとき足神のごとく燃え上がる者によりてなれる神の名は馬し足神彦路の神、次に雨の床たちの神。
The names of the deities that were born next from a thing that sprouted up like unto a reed shoot when the earth, young and like unto floating oil, drifted around, Medusa-like, where Umashi, Ashikabi, Ikoji no Kami, next Ame no Tokotachi no Kami. Also, was that not like the weirdest sentence? Hold up. The names of the deities that were born next from a thing that sprouted up like unto a reed shoot, when the earth young and like unto floating oil drifted about. Medusa like, okay. The sentence works, but it feels very weird. I think like unto is just the weird part that gets me here. Using like unto twice feels very weird. Alright.
この二中の神もまた一人神となりまして身を
These
隠
two
したまい
deities
き。
were likewise born alone and hid their persons. Also, what were the first ones? Ame no Minakanushi, the Kami, and Kame Mushi no Kami. Okay. Hikaru's napping.
光る。
Hikaru. Bonk.
ちゃんと聞きなさい。
Pay attention.
努力を頑張るにやぶさかではないけど。
It's not that I'm not trying.
お前はいずれスバル様の後を継いで港の巫女になるんだ。危機くらいは収めておかないと後で恥をかいてしまうぞ。
You'll have to succeed your mother one day. What will people say about a priestess who doesn't know the Kochiki? Now that would be kind of weird.
飽きた。
I'm tired of these stories.
飽きるくらい学ばなくては身につかない。
That's how you know you're remembering them.
ヤマトの神話ばっかりだし。
They're all about Yamato?
当たり前だろ。
Why, of course they are.
たまには違う話もしてほしい。
Read me something else for a change.
国語や算数なら俺に習うよりも学校できちんと先生に教えてもらった方が
Math?
いい。
Modern literature? You're better off learning those things in school.
あいつらの話は嫌いだ。勝手に喋ってるだけでこっちが聞いてるかどうかもお構いなしじゃないか。
School is so boring that all the teachers do is talk. They don't even care if I'm listening.
影明の声は聞いてるうちに気持ちよくなるから寝るけど、あいつらの声は嫌いだから聞く前に寝る。
Your voice puts me to sleep because it's soothing, but my teachers drone on and on, so I get to sleep anyway. I get to sleep
それ
away.
でお前は成績が良く
Oh,
ない
so
の
that's
か。
why your grades are low. Sleeping through classes and sleeping because Kageki's voice puts you to sleep. Ow.
先生をあいつらと呼ぶな。一人で大勢の相手をするから大変なんだ。感謝の気持ちを持って授業を受けなさい。
Don't disrespect your teachers. Imagine how hard it is to manage a class of 20 students. You should be thankful for every moment they give you.
それと、俺の
This
講義は
bonk
子守
sound.
歌ではない。
This bonk sounds great. Stop treating my lectures like bedtime stories.
それと、
It doesn't play the
俺
bonk
の講
sound.
義は子守歌ではない。
Damn. I tried to replay it. I wanted to get the bonk sound again. I hope Yoasobi's living rent free in your head right now. It lives rent free in everybody's head. That's a good track. Yoasobi does good work. Like half their track. All of their popular songs can easily just get in there. Like the fantastic earworms they are.
うん、
Ow.
続けるぞ。
Let's continue.
別の話。
I want a different story.
どんな話がいいんだ。
Oh, such as?
違う神様の話は？
Know any other gods?
ヤマト以外の
Other than Yamato's, you mean? Yeah.
神話というものはどこの国でもそんなに変わらないぞ。
Gods are more or
神
less
様
the same
の
in
名
every
前が
culture.
違うだけだ。
Only the names change.
とまで言っては
Maybe that's
言い過
overstating
ぎ
it.
か。
例えば？
Like?
ギリシャの神話だと原初にはカオスがあり、そこからガイア、タルタロス、エロス、そしてエレボスとニュクスが生まれ、エレボスとニュクスからアイテルとヘメラが生まれた。
So in Greek mythology, first there was chaos, and from chaos was born Gaia the earth, Tartarus the underworld, Eros, love, Erebos, darkness, and Nyx the night. From the union of Erebos and Nyx comes Aether, light, and Hemera, the day.
ガイア
Kageki's
は
very
ウラ
old.
ヌスとポントスを生んだ。
Finally, Gaia births Uranus, the sky, and Pontus, the sea.
はあ。
ほら
え、
似たようなものだろ。
It's just like the Kajiki.
全然違うよ。
It's totally different.
Hmm.
It is?
ま
I
あ
suppose it depends on
解釈に
interpretation.
よるか。
Kageki, everything's the same.
続き。
More. Do Egypt, do Egypt.
ウラノスは世界を支配し、ガイアを妻としてヘカトンケイルとキュクロプスを生んだ。しかしウラノスはこの巨人たちを嫌い、タルタロスへ捨ててしまった。
Uranus conquered the world, took Gaia to wife, and fathered the Hecatonchires and Cyclopes by her. However, Uranus despised these children and cast them down into Tartarus.
ひどい。
So mean. He doesn't like kids. He doesn't like kids, it's understandable.
その後、ウラノスとガイアは12中のティターンを生んだが、ガイアは巨人に対するウラノスの仕打ちを恨んで、ティターンに父を打倒せよと命じる。
After that, Uranus and Gaia had 12 more children called the Titans, but Gaia desired revenge for how Uranus treated their first children, so she ordered the Titans to destroy him.
12中の末帝、クロノスがこれを果たした。しかし彼は父と同じ罪を犯し、
同じように
very
息子
well
の手で
learned.
倒されることになる。
Giving a very brief summary of how the Greek gods came to power. It was the youngest of the Titans, Cronus, who finally brought his father down, but instead of learning from Uranus's mistakes, he repeated them and was eventually defeated by his own son, just like his father. Yep.
この息子がゼウス。彼を王として神々は全盛期を迎えるのだ。
His son was Zeus, who became king of the gods and led them to victory. That's it. I mean, I figure most people know this already, but it's a nice 5-second summary of Greek mythology.
面白い。
That's so cool. You're just missing the part where Zeus makes a bunch of demigods and you're done.
そうか。
Really? It's cool.
続き。
More.
ダメ。ここまでだ。古事記の勉強に戻るぞ。
No more for today. Back to the Kujiki.
続き。
また今度。
Tomorrow.
膨れてもダメだ。
Outing won't get you anything.
じゃあ質問。
Question?
なんだ。
What?
ウラナスとガイアが結婚して子供を作ったんだよね。
Uranus and Gaia got married and had babies, right? Right?
でも、ウラナスはガイアが産んだの？
What wasn't Uranus Gaia's son? Yep.
そうだな。
親子で結婚？
He married his mom?
そうなる。
I suppose so.
ダメなんじゃないの？
Isn't that bad
人間はな、
for people?
神様はいいの？
It's okay for gods?
神様には神様のルールがあるんだろ
I suppose gods have their own rules. Mistakes were made on this day, Kageaki.
う。さあ、勉強に戻るぞ。
Now back to
は
studying.
ーい。
Okay.
人が母に背いて父を奪えば人の方に背く。しかし
She's
神には
she's
神
not
の方が
she's only a little
こ
bit
れを
crazy.
許す。故に俺は万人を打倒する。地球の部を証明する。人を超え神を称する。
And you're like, that seems like a reasonable thing. And she's like, a child may not claim her father so the laws of man, but gods have their own laws and always permitted them. Therefore I lay the world of man to ruin by right of martial primacy. The throne of heaven shall be mine. I like how she's just like, I want. It's like, I'm a brocon so hard I'll kill everyone on the planet to do it. Seems good. Yep. You think there's some people who are like, man, this person likes their mother, father, brother, sister a little too much. And then there's Hikaru who's like, I'll just become a god. I'll just become a god, then it'll be reasonable and not illegal. It seems good. How do you become a god? Well, if I kill everyone on the planet, no one can dispute me. It's easy.
神となれば我が望みは正当化されよ。人の世を壊せば人の方に囚われる父は解放されよ。
As a god, my actions will be lawful, and with mankind gone, my father will at last be free from the bonds of morality. Lovely. Lovely strategy, Hikaru.
妨げる何者もなく、光は父に向き合える。
It's just the
母に
right
奪わ
blend
れた
of
父を取り
crazy.
戻せる。
No more will any power divide us. His mother stole my father from me. I'll steal him back. Take back your father. Is that it, Hikaru? Is that what you want? Now I understand. For indeed, Hikaru has no father. The man who should have been her father violated a sacred rule, and as a result he was forced to give up that right and sever all the ties of blood. It was not, I know, at all what he wanted, but the laws of man would not allow him to take up the mantle of fatherhood. In the end, he chose to obey, and that's why he'll never acknowledge Hikaru as his progeny. So in a sense, it was society, civilization itself, that took Hikaru's father from her. If this quest to destroy the world of man is meant to bring her father back, then she's driven by reason, not insanity after all. Is her actual goal just, you know, it would be bad. I know she's like a super hardcore brocom, but I know she's stated her goal with her father. Is she trying to make Kageaki her father, or is she trying to make Kageaki's father acknowledge her? Because that would be even better. It's like, how many people died because of your stupid grandfather? Like, imagine your grandfather's like, blah, blah, blah. I'm a traditionalist. Go fuck yourself. You're not allowed to see your daughter. And he's like, I don't like this, but I mean, you do own the entire city and have an army. Yeah, it's a great Zoken moment, right? It's like, what the fuck is he doing? He's just making problems for the world. And you see her and you're like, wait a minute, there's like thousands of people dead at her hands. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Just be like, oh yeah, what the fuck? Like, just go ask her what the fuck she's doing? No? We're not doing that? Alright. Of course, she might take that as not working because she's like, well, legally we're not associated with each other, so I'm gonna make my own society with my own rules. Fuck you. Is it the dark Sakura route with Shinji as the heroine? Heroine? Shinji? Heroine? Kageyaki? You mean our spider? You mean the spider, right? Father? I remember the pain that was graven on my father's face that day. What does he feel when he thinks back to what was done all those years ago? Regret? Perhaps? Resignation? And what would he feel now to know the truth of Hikaru's desire and the lengths which she has gone and will go to achieve it? He freed Muramasa, engineered the death of her own mother, sworn to purge the earth of human life, all to transcend humanity and become a god? I mean, yeah, I guess. If your father's not going to acknowledge you because he's too much of a traditionalist, you may as well just destroy society. Sure, that seems fairly reasonable, right? You're like, well, society won't let me have a father. I guess I'll break society. It's like, either I can accept to have no father or I can break society. And most people think restructuring society seems like an impossible task. I'll just accept that I don't have a father. And she's just like, nah. If I kill everyone on the planet, there won't be a society. And therefore, as the strongest person alive, I'll be able to make the rules. What a great idea. I just thought she was like obsessed with Kageyaki. I wasn't thinking about the actual father part. I just assumed there was some weird thing where Kageyaki had a kid and signed away his daughter into like his mother's care or some shit, and then they were being raised like that. That was my suspicion. Was that Kageyaki like had a kid and then for some bullshit reason he couldn't keep it. And they decided to like raise it under his mother and father instead of under him. And she was trying to get his acknowledgement. But maybe that's not the case. Also, if Kageyaki is not legally acknowledged as her father, or sorry, not Kageyaki. If whatever Kageyaki's father is not legally acknowledged as her father, doesn't that make them only half-siblings by the law? It's slightly less creepy. They're half-siblings. Because she doesn't have a father. Yeah? It'd be the weirdest Alabama you've ever heard. When your family tree is a Mobius strip. I don't get that. How would he feel? No. How should I feel? I was too young back then to know the meaning of responsibility, but that's no excuse. It was my decision ultimately that denied Hikaru a father, and therefore I'm to blame since all that's come since. How should I feel? What must I do? What must I do? That's a good point. What do we have to do? As we fade to white and wake up, what? We're waking up indoors? Or is this another dream? What's happening? Where am I?
Yeah.
Yo, is that Chachamaru? ATK, thank you.
おはよう、お兄さん。
Morning, big bro. Chachamaru, what?
おはようございま
Good
す。
morning.
今日もいいお天気ですよ。
It's a fine day out there.
そうですか。洗濯物がよく乾くでしょう。
Is it then? The laundry should dry itself nicely.
いいこった。
Ain't that grand? I'm kind of lost what's happening here.
はい。
But Chachamaru is sitting on us. I don't know why, but alright. I'm okay with this. Sort of.
朝も早からじっと見つめ合う男と女。
And they stare at each other in companionable silence. The only thing I'm confused about is this Hikaru in disguise? Is this Hikaru mind-controlling Chachamaru? Which one is this? Maybe Chachamaru is his real sister because he's adopted? Maybe? It's not clear. I was thinking Chachamaru was, I thought Chachamaru shapeshifted her arm, so she might have been a Tsurugi in human form.
どこかで
Pardon me, but have we met?
お会いしたことがありましたでしょ
We
う
have. It's Chachamaru. How'd you forget? Or sorry, Bullet Liger. She gave an alias. The alias Bullet Liger, which is amazing. And yes, in Japanese, it's Dangan Liger.
ご記憶にない？
You don't remember?
面目次第
Right, not. It is I, Dangan Liger.
寝床を共にするほどの仲なのに。
Even after sharing a bed together? Wait. When did we get so drunk to do this?
でありますから。先ほどより脳みそを沸騰させる思いで思考を巡らせているのですが。
That's precisely why I've spent the last several seconds struggling to come up with an answer.
覚えてない。
But nothing.
いえ、そこはかとなく
No, at least
記憶に
Nothing I
触れるものは
put my finger on. Yeah, you see it too? I was like, Dangan Liger. Wait a minute. That's the... Yep, Dangan's bullet. Nothing I can put
あ
my
る
finger
か
on.
な？
But there is something.
朝も早からチューでもしてしまいそうなほど見つめ合う男と女。
They make ready to share their morning kiss.
誤解です。
It seems
そ
unlikely.
もそもここはどこで、自分はなぜここにいるのでしょうか。
Before we move on to introductions, it might help if I knew where I am and how I got here.
それも覚えてない？
You don't remember that either? We don't actually. We fell into a black hole. I got sucked into that black pit. Wait, I lost consciousness before that would have happened. If I'd actually been swallowed, I doubt there'd be enough of me left now to fill a thimble. Which means Kinseigo must have deactivated her Shinogi before that could happen. Alright, so then what?
意識を失う前に
I remember
どこ
where
で
I was
何をしていたかは記
and
憶
what I
してい
was
ま
doing
す。
before I blacked out.
けど、それがここに繋がらない。
But you can't see how you ended up here.
はい、
Nope.
そりゃ仕方ないかな。
Can't blame me for that.
なぜでしょう。
Pardon?
気絶して倒れてたお兄さんをあてが勝手にここまで連れてきたから。
You were totally out of it, so I went and brought you here?
つまり、
You were there?
あなたはあそこにいたの
At
ですか。
Hachiman Shrine?
うん。
あの時の
You were
八幡
there.
宮に
In the middle of all that.
大変だったよ。
It was something, let me tell you.
もうちょっとであの黒いのに巻き込まれるとこだった。怖いの怖くないのって。
I almost got sucked into that black hole thing myself. Just thinking about it gives me the chills.
なんかあれ、風呂の線を抜いた時にさ、水と一緒に吸い込まれていく抜け毛の気持ちがわかるよね。
Now I know how those little hairs in the tub feel when you pull the plug and send them swirling down the drain. Well, that's a metaphor, alright. A
確か
fine analogy.
あれはトラウマもんだ。
I'm gonna be seeing that hole in my nightmares for a while.
上でお兄さんたちが盛り上がってるさなか、下ではあても地味に大ピンチだったわけですよ。誰も見ていないところで必死に頑張りましたともさ。
I'll have you know that while you two were going at it topside, I was dealing with a little crisis of my own down below. Poor little me, slaving away with none the wiser.
思い出したら悲
Just
しく
thinking
な
about
っ
it
て
makes
き
me all
た。
depressed. What were you doing other than murder? What were you doing other than murder? We had one scene with her midway through the fight. When Kinseigo slapped the Shogun like into the distance. We had a scene where she went up and murdered him because she's like, oh, I can't have you knowing my secret, right? Or more accurately, he landed by her and she's just like casually talking to him about how Ginseigo was a friend, and he's like, so are you gonna let me go? And she's like, alright, I have to kill you now, and then just kills him. Which was funny because like our protagonist was struggling to fight him, but Chacha just kills him in like 2 seconds.
ご迷惑をおかけいたしました。
I apologize for any trouble I caused you.
いえいえ、その後お兄さんと村正を抱えて誰かに見つからないうちにスタコラ退散してきたけど、
Oh, don't mention it. Sure, I made off with you and Muramasa before anyone else could find you.
それはそんなに苦労しなかった。 その前の排水溝脱出ゲームに比べればね。
Hey, that was easy compared to escaping from that damn hole in the sky. So did we actually cause any destruction? Or was the light just bending to make it look like it was sucking the buildings in? I scanned the room. And there, a giant crimson spider is sitting off to the side, motionless and unresponsive to my mental prodding. The lump of frozen terror in my gut thankfully persists for only a moment. The bond between us informs me that my Tsurugi is merely resting, all extraneous functions deactivated in order to focus on self-repair. It's not a good thing precisely, since it means her damage is quite severe, but at least the worst does not come to pass. I breathe a sigh of relief. I mean, you came dangerously close to the event horizon of a black hole. That seems understandable. Or at least some approximation of one. Yay, gravity magic.
剣のこと
Worried
心
about
配
your
なんだ
sword?
ね。
相棒ですから。
He is my partner? Oh.
何か。
Is something the matter?
お兄さんのそういう言葉を聞くと、少しばかりささくれ立つあての心。
Hearing you talk like that makes my heart cry a little invisible tears.
なぜでしょ
For whatever reason.
個人的な都合による感情であります。当変木名。
Nothing you need concern yourself with, you insensitive prick.
さーて、それでお兄さん、あてが何者で、ここがどこだか、そろそろ見えてきたかな？
Isn't it about time you figure out who I am?
う。あなたは村正の名を口に
You
した。
identified Muramasa by name?
しましたね。
Sure did.
ならあなたは自分に関わる人間
You
か
must somehow be affiliated with myself.
銀星号に関わる
Or
人
with
間ということになります。
2両しか残ってないもんな。
Makes
前後
sense.
上門の城、村正の新作は。
Seeing as there's only 2 Muramasas left in the world.
そしてあなたはあの時八幡宮にいた
You were also at Hachiman Shrine during the ceremony.
はい。
宝刀参拝の部外者は立ち入りできない
A ceremony so
重
important the
大な
entire
祭祀の
shrine
最中であった八幡宮
was
に
closed to the public.
そうですね。
And now that you mention it, yeah.
以前からいぶかしんでいたことがあります。行方不明者として全国に手配が回っているのに
I wonder for some
な
time
ぜ
how
俺の
Hikaru
消
could
息を
remain
全
hidden.
く知れないのか。
We made sure to report her as missing to every police precinct in the county.
2年もの間。これはあれが誰か有力な人物に保護されている少佐なのではないか。
It's been 2 years. The only logical explanation is that she was being sheltered by someone with significant influence.
ごもっとも。
Right you are.
部屋の様相から類推するに、ここは相当の構えを誇るお屋
Judging
敷
by
の
the
中。
decor, this must be quite the lavish manor.
それほどでも。あ、これ謙遜だからね。お兄さんの推測は当たってますよ。
Not really. Ah, nah. I'm just being modest. Your guess's right on the money.
Please.
Go on.
あなたは幕閣の方ですね。
You're a shogunate officer, aren't you?
堀越久保、足利茶々丸。はじめましてって言っておかないといけないかな。
General Ashikaga Chachamaru, governor of Horigoi. Guess this is where I say it's a pleasure to meet you.
お兄さん、
And it's such a pleasure.
お腹空いてる？
Hungry?
その
So
様子です。
it would seem.
じゃあ、まずは朝飯にするか。
Then we better start with breakfast. Does she have anyone else around at her mansion? For what my host insists is your average local breakfast, the meal set before me boasts a stunning variety of foods for a past that lends much credence to Izu's claim of having the richest waters and fields in Yamato. Okay. Despite my hunger, I let my chopsticks wander. Not because I fear poison, of course. She had ample opportunity to kill me in my sleep, but because I simply can't decide where to begin.
だからさ、当てとしては言いたいわけよ。クジラ取るな、クジラ取るなって最近にわかにやかましい白人ども。そもそもクジラの数を激減させたのはてめえらじゃねえかってな。
I've just got one thing to say about all these bleeding heart whiteys whining about the whales. You're the ones who made them an endangered species. Am I right? Am I right?
あてらの捕鯨は生態系まで破壊してね。大量に取れるほど船も捕鯨技術も発達してなかったし、一頭取れば村が半年遊べるってくらい有効に活用してたし。
We don't take so much to destroy the fucking ecosystem. Yamato never developed mass whaling. Never had the demand. And here, one will feed a village for 6 months because we know what we're doing.
そもそも狭い島国の中残ったから需要がそんなになかった。
Yeah, the only folks
需
who had
要
the
があった
demand.
のは
The ones who sailed the world in
世
search
界
of
中
more
の
whales
海
to
で
kill.
取りに取ってそれでも足りなかったのは高原にするんで経由がいくらでも必要だったてめえらだろうがエイハブどもの乱獲がクジラを滅ぼしかけてんだよ
It was you, Captain Ahab wannabe motherfuckers, hunting whales for lamp oil and shit. You're the ones who needed them. A difficult topic. Sort of true. And an interesting problem. But of course, the problem would simply be that if you let one country hunt whales as much as they want, then they'll inevitably just sell it, and the demand will increase. But there'll still be a supply on the market, so demand will be high. It's like, there's not a great solution. Regardless, there'll probably still be a black market for doing all that stuff, even if it is illegal. See, shark fin soup, etc. It's especially wasteful because you only need like a tiny bit from either of the animals. Right? Because typically when you're hunting sharks for shark fin soup, you just cut off the fins and the rest of you just leave the animal to drown. Yeah. Because sharks can't breathe unless they're moving most of the time. And most animals can't survive if they literally can't move. I think they have the same problem with the whales, right? You want like their blubber, I think? Or the oil? Not that you necessarily need it anymore, but it'd probably be useful in cosmetics or some BS. And you never know. I'm sure someone thinks it's an aphrodisiac or a boner pill or some shit. You know, crushed rhino horn, whatever exotic ingredients you want. A difficult topic. Well, it's true that the West has a longer history of industrializing whaling. Overall, Yamato did greatly expand its whaling activities during the 19th century, as our own demand for lamp oil and fertilizer grew. We've even sent fleets to the Antarctic, so it's not as though Yamato hasn't contributed to the problem. Yeah, also true. The demand will inevitably rise, right? As long as people are using it for that. As a consumable. In any case, I decided to start with the whale simmered in soy and mirin. Delicious.
それがなんだおい高原需要がなくなった途端エコロジーに目覚めやがって
Oh, but take away the need for oil and all of a sudden you love conservation. Of course, people only do what serves their needs. If you don't need the lamp oil, suddenly conservation is real good. Makes sense? That's how we have, like, people complaining about China's, total emissions. Or other, countries' emissions. When it's like, oh yeah, everyone else can swap to green because they're rich, but road people can? I mean, it's fair. To be fair, you had the excuse when you were, burning coal that you didn't know it was necessarily horrible for the global environment. But it is a lot harder to go straight from nothing to green energy, right? So a common complaint is that you're just serving the needs of the richest people on the planet. Although it is also true that some countries have way the fuck larger populations than anyone who was industrializing did. Alright? It would still help if the US actually contributed to green energy problem solving, considering they're like the largest per capita producer of greenhouse gases, if I recall correctly. It should be, last I checked, it was per capita is US, so that's per person, and then total is China. But of course, China has 5 times as many people, right? They have a teeny bit of excuse. They have a small excuse in having more people. But I don't know. If everyone had the same emissions, it'd be pretty bad. Or at least some people putting in the work.
絶滅の危機だから保護しましょうだそれが自分らの責任を認めて反省するって態度ならまあ聞く耳もあるけどさ
Save the whales from extinction? Sure, we can talk about that as soon as you're up to your share of the killing, that is. We can talk about saving the whales as soon as you're up to your own as you own up to your own share of the killing. Oh, okay. True, okay. The standard complaint that there's Japanese whaling people when, fair enough. That's fair enough, okay. That's a fair point, Chachamaru.
あいつら反省なんてかけらもしてねえじゃねえか。てめえの過去は棚に上げて今のアテラの捕鯨だけ問題にしてギャースか非難しやがれ。
Would you? Hell no. You act like it's our mess to clean up when you're the ones who really fucked the whales over. I believe this is true historically, right? They were just expanding their fishing fleet? They were just modernizing when whale conservatism became popular? I believe that was true. Oh well, if it's true in this history, that's also... If it's only true in this history, that's even better. Writing up an argument like this and being like, oh, this is what happened. And you're like, oh, that's cool. Do we look like punk bitches to you? Am I supposed to answer that question, Chachamaru? Because you're not going to like the answer. I understand the desire for a fair apportioning of blame, however the fact that the whales are at risk of extinction. Shouldn't we be focused on reversing that trend, even if it means swallowing our pride? Yeah, a good argument. A good argument from Kageyaku. You can't really reverse extinction, so should probably just stop. Otherwise, you won't get any delicious whales ever. It's true, right? While considering this, I reached for the seared whale flank. Also delicious.
近頃は連中、クジラは頭のいい動物だから殺すのは野蛮だなんて妙なことまで言ってんな。あほうか。じゃあそのクジラの知能を解析してコミュニケーション取ってこう言ってみろ。
These days you even got people saying whales are too smart to kill. The fuck? If they're so damn smart, why don't you try talking to them?
私はあなたの味方ですってな。かけてもいいけど、クジラくんはツッコミの衝動を抑えられないと思うぜ。
Yeah, you try telling them you're on their side. I get the feeling they'll have a thing or two to say about that.
確かに妙な主張ではあります。
Does
知能
seem
が
odd
高いから殺すなというのは。
to argue that a creature's intelligence makes it ineligible for slaughter. Yeah, a little bit odd.
牛や豚はバカだから食ってもいいけど、クジラは賢いからダメだってんだからな。何言ってんのかわかんねえ。
You're basically saying it's okay to eat pork chops and steak because pigs and cows are stupid. That's pretty fucked up. Yeah, I mean, but what is your criteria that makes an animal acceptable to eat?
文化の違いから来る思想
I
の
suppose
違い
it
と
might
い
be
う
a
ものでしょ
cultural
うか。
difference. Wouldn't it just be sapiens? Yeah, that would be my standard, right? Or yeah, sentience is like just feeling anything, right? Which I believe like some plants can and most animals do. Possessed? I'd just say sapiens.
突き詰めると人種差別思想が起因かな。あいつら的には優秀な生物はそうでない生物よりも上等って考えは侵略の歴史を支えてきた馴染み深い正義なんだろ。
If you ask me, it all comes down to racism. The belief that smarter, stronger animals have more rights is what makes whites think they can conquer everyone else.
なるほど。
I answer. Then take a bite of fried whale. Though I doubt that's all there is to it. He does have a point, and the fried whale is delicious. I like how he just keeps commenting on how good the whale is.
バカくせえっての。あては差別なんかしないもんね。牛も豚もクジラも平等に食う。
Bunch of lousy hypocrites. Me? I don't discriminate. Pigs, cows, whales, I'll eat them all.
イルカだって食うぞ。それで思い出したけど、一部のヤマト人がまた腹立つんだよな。捕鯨は賛成なのにイルカ食うって聞くととか言いやがんの。
I'll even eat dolphins. Which reminds me, what's up with those chuckle fucks who are cool with eating whales but lose their shit when it comes to dolphins? Yamato's full of them!
イルカ食って悪いかほら。つうかクジラはいいけどイルカはダメとか言い出したら捕鯨反対派と同レベルだろうが。
What's so special about dolphins? Those guys are no better than the whale lovers. At least Chachamaru's consistent. Be consistent, Chachamaru. If you're gonna have unusual tastes, be consistent. I can respect that.
あてが思うに、奴らは反対派が送り込んだ工作員だな。
You ask me, I bet those fucks sent them to fuck with our heads.
感情としてイルカ食を受け入れがたいのは理解できます。
I must admit, the thought of eating dolphins doesn't sit well with me. I assume that's what he's eating right now?
捕鯨反対だって感情問題やん。結局のところ、
No?
自分とは違う他人の文化をどう受け止めるかって話だ。
I thought we'd have a scene where she's like, oh, half of this has been dolphin. Yeah, well, I'd say it's a matter of preference. Same with whales. It's not about what you want, it's about respecting other cultures. You dig?
気に食わないからって文句つけるか。 自分とこへ押し売りに来たってんならともかく、よそでやってる分には構わずに置くのが大人の態度ってもんだろう。
I mean, it's not like we're forcing anyone to eat well. We're just doing our thing. Why can't they mind their goddamn business like civilized folks?
多文化の尊重。
I agree, one must always take care to respect other cultures.
でし
Right? The governor rewards me with a brilliant smile. It seems as good a time as any. I set down my chopsticks and turned to face my host.
ょ？あれ、もういいの？
Done already?
は、十分にいただきました。
Yes, thank you.
本題に入りたく思うのですが。
Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to get down to business.
何？
Oh, what business is that? He flashes an impish grin. I steel myself for the all-important question.
銀星号は今
Kinsego is here,
ここ
isn't
にい
she?
るのですね。
今？
Right
いない
now?
よ。
Nah. Oh. And she's like, nah. Oh, it's a nice villa. We got a lake. According to my host, 3 days have passed since the events at Hachiman Shrine. I was unconscious the whole time. Even had she not so informed me, the aching of my joints is clearly the result of spending too much time abed.
お茶どうぞ。
Have some tea.
ありがとうございます。
I sip from the offered cup as General Ashikaga Chachamaru joins me on the garden patio. The tea is fragrant and flavorful, and I'm reminded that Izu is located close to one of Yamato's more famous tea-producing regions.
今日は雲が張っててダメだな。
The clouds are too thick.
あっちの空、富士山がよく見えない。
On the horizon, you can't see Fuji.
おお。この北向きの庭は富士を楽しむ仕立てでしたか。
Of course, this garden offers a view of Fuji to the north.
この辺りからだと富士山の土手っ腹に開いたでっかい穴がちゃんと見えて面白いんだよ。
On a perfectly clear day, you can see the big hole in Fuji's peak. It's pretty cool.
そうですか。
Must be quite the sight.
して、閣下。
That aside, Your Excellency. If I might have a moment of your time.
あって？
Oh, are you talking to me?
はい。
Yes.
そんな他人行儀の呼び方しなくても。
Don't be so formal. We're friends, right? Right?
他人です。
No.
クール。
You're so cold.
お伺いしますが、何故自分を伊豆まで連れてこられたのです。
I would like to know why you brought me to Izu.
鎌倉にいたら面倒なことになるからね。あて、鎌倉防衛警備の月番だったもんでさ。
Didn't stay in Kamakura. I was supposed to be in charge of the city's defense, which sort of makes what happened at the shrine my fault.
八幡宮の事件は当ての不手際だって言えばそう言えるわけで、来庁あたりから責任追及される前に先手打って本拠地に引きこもったのよ。
One of the others was sure to ask for my head, so I figured I'd shut myself up here in Izu before they could. Sort of a voluntary house arrest, I guess you could say.
八幡宮の事件。
What happened at the shrine?
足利森氏シス。一代の覇王も最後はあっけないもんだ。
The death of Ashikaga Moriyuji, the man who conquered Yamato, gone in the blink of an eye.
それは
Is that true?
外向きには隠されてるし、内向きにもまだ失踪って扱いで捜索中だけどね。八幡宮と護衛団ごといなくなって3日間経っても手がかりすらないんだ。
I mean, we're keeping the news under wraps and calling it a disappearance, but come on. Hachiman Shrine and his entire corps of guards vanished with him. It's been 3 days.
お亡くなりは確定だよ。不堕落じゃ後継者を立てる準備に入ってる。
No way he's still breathing. Back at Futaraku, they're already getting ready to invest his successor. Will the place be bombed like it was last route? If he hasn't been found, he must have been consumed by the black hole Hikaru summoned. Whether or not it was her strike that actually killed him. All's well that ends well, well. The prince's goal would appear to have been met, though. Without my report, he has no way of knowing exactly what happened. I can only hope my absence doesn't somehow cause his downfall. I mean, the good news is, Act of God is probably not going to get the prince killed, right? It's like, so, you assassinated the prince? I assassinated the prince. You think I had him assassinated? A fucking black hole opened in the sky above the shrine, killing him and everyone near him? And you're telling me, like, I did that? I think it's pretty safe. Unless they think he controls Ginsega.
死亡を知っているのは不堕落の首脳だけですか。
Only the Rokuhara generals know about the Shogun's death?
どうだろう。 GHQ の動きがなんか怪しいし、倒幕派もちょろちょろし始めてるしな。
Hard to say, GHQ's been acting strange the last couple days, and the rebels are poking their heads out of the grass.
実はもうかなり漏れてるのかもしれんね。ま、こういうのは隠そうとして隠しきれるもんでもないし。
Maybe the news already leaked. Besides, you can't keep a secret like this forever.
ええ。それはともかく。
True, but back to my question, Your Excellency.
先ほど閣下にお尋ねしたかったのは、自分の身柄をわざわざ回収された件についてです。
I asked why you went through the trouble of recovering me from the scene.
あそこにほったらかしといたらまずいやん。お兄さん、事件の主犯に仕立て上げられて処刑よ。
You wanted me to leave you there for Rokuhara to capture? They'd have pinned the whole thing on you in a heartbeat. Well, I did try to kill the Shogun.
しかしそれは自分の都合に過ぎません。
Not yours?
当ての都合でもあるんだ
Oh,
な。
I wouldn't say that.
どういう
Afraid I
こと
don't
でしょう
follow.
おちょめ
This is good tea. Damn. Just enjoying this damn good tea.
では、閣下のご都合に照らした場合、自分の身は今後どのように扱われるのでしょう。
Right? May I ask what you intend to do with me now that I'm in your custody? Am I a prisoner? Right now, my first order of business is to return to Kamakura and report my patrons. If the general intends to keep me here, I'll have no choice but to attempt an escape. Unfortunately, this manor is located in the heart of Horigoe Military District. Breaking out will be no easy feat. At the very least, I'll have to wait until Muramasa has fully recovered. Perhaps I should try a more indirect approach?
特に考えてないけど、お兄さん次第。
Haven't given it much thought, really. I guess it's up to you.
自分の好きにして
I mean, I'm free to do as I please.
もちろん。あては男を縛って食い物にするタイプではなく、影から尽くすタイプなのです。
But why does she simp for Kageyaki? Of course, I'm the kind of girl who supports her man, not the kind that keeps him tied down.
邪魔はしないけど、必要なことは何でもしてくれる女。当然処女。でも床上手だったり。
Never in the way, but
なんて都合がいいんでしょう。
Ah, Chachamaru. Never in the way, but always there when you need me, and a bona fide virgin to boot. A virgin who just so happens to be a monster in the sack. Now there's a list of qualities you don't see every day.
色男は得だね、この。
It's good to be the protagonist, huh? How did you know Kageyaki was the
鎌
protagonist?
倉に戻ろうかと考
I'd like
え
to
てい
return
る
to
のですが、
Kamakura as soon as possible.
そりゃ寂しい。あてはまだしばらく戻れないしな。
And leave me all alone? It'll be a while before I can go back.
でも、お兄さんがそうしたいなら仕方ないね。列車の手配しようか。船でちんたら行くよりいいでしょ。
But hey, if it's what you want, did I get you on a train? It'll be faster than a ship. Incomprehensible. What does this girl, the one who commands a quarter of the dragon army, want? Is she friend or foe? Nothing in her comportment suggests malice towards me, only a clinging, puppy-like affection. Still, she has admitted to harboring Ginsego. Is it true? If it is, then why? Why would she consort with someone so dangerous? Ashikaga Chachamaru, what do you want? There are too many questions. I don't know where to begin. I could just start asking and hope she gives me answers that I need, but how far can I really trust her?
いや、
Oh?
何か
Is something the matter?
しばらくは現れないと思ってたんだけどな。お兄さんが起きたせいかな。
I didn't think she'd show up so soon. Maybe she felt you were awake?
よかったね。
Lucky you.
待ち人来たれり。
It's who you've been waiting for.
落ち着いた場所で向き合うのって久しぶりなんじゃない？
I bet it's been a while since you two could just sit down and talk. Hikaru. He just shows up here. Hikaru is there.
人が人のままささやかにまとまって身を寄せ合う時代はここでぶった切る。誰もが欲するままに生き戦い殺す、そんな時代を導こう。
Another wonderful part of her rant. Okay, I shall shatter mankind's shell of peace, harmony, and brotherhood, ushering in an age where every individual lives, fights, and kills in accordance with their desires. Hikaru.
神となれば我が望みは正当化されよ。人の世を
It's not
壊
like
せ
this was hours
人の
ago.
法にとらわれる父は解放
This
され
was
よ。
like 15 minutes. As a god, my actions will be lawful, and with mankind gone, my father will be free from the bonds of morality.
妨げる何者もなく光は父に向き合える。母に奪われた父を取り戻せる。
No more will any power divide us. His mother stole my father from me, I'll steal him back.
これが光の道だ。
Such is the will of Hikaru. Hikaru.
村正がいかなる剣であるか
I knew from the beginning what Muramasa was.
承知の上で我
I
が
knew
物
and
とした
joined
の
with
は
it All the same.
そしてお前にも与えた。
And then I left the other Muramasa to fall into your
お
hands.
前の手で母上を殺させるために。
For I knew you'd use it to kill my mother.
光る
Hikaru! Going for a tackle. The next thing I know, I'm lying face up at the far end of the patio.
影明。
Kageaki.
そう熱烈に求められるのはな、悪い気分ではないというか、光としても本望なのだがな。TCO はわきまえてくれ。
It's hardly unpleasant to be the focus of such intense desire. I wouldn't have it any other way, in fact. But you would do well to consider a little thing called TCO.
TCO
Total cost of operations?
お姫 TPO です。
Princess. Time, place, occasion.
TPO はわきまえるように。まだ朝方、ここは縁側、光は起き抜けだ。
Do you try to consider the TPO next time? It's still morning. This is a place of rest and relaxation, and I've only just awakened.
そして、親しき中にも礼儀あり。まずは朝の挨拶からだ。
Besides, courtesy is important, even among family. Let's start with the usual greetings, shall we?
おはよう、影明。
Good morning, Kageaki.
おはよ
Good morning.
おはようお姫。
Good morning, princess.
おはよう。今日は青空が見えるな。いい
Feels
気
like a
分だ。
witch's tea party. Yeah, you're like, who are these two random women? What do they want with me? Why am I here? I mean, I know who one of them is, but why? Why are we here? Shouldn't we be fighting or something? Yes, a fine morning to you. The blue sky is quite refreshing.
野球でもしたくなる天気だね。
Makes you want to play some baseball.
悪くない。
A fine
昼
idea.
からやろうか。暇してる武者集めてさ。
You wanna? I could round up some off-duty Musha and get a game going by noon.
よかろう。新たな魔球を試したかったところだ。
See to it that I've been wanting to try out my new death
お
ball.
兄さんもどう？フルアーマーベースボール。
What about you, big bro? Up for a game of full armor baseball?
フルアーマー
Full armor?
普通にやるとゲームにならないんだよね。お姫の投げる球誰も打てないし、キャッチャーは1球ごとに病院送りだし、打席に立てばピッチャーライナーでそのまま投手ごと場外ホームランとかになるし。
It's not much of a game otherwise. No one can hit the princess's pitches. Any catcher who gets in front of one, ends up in the hospital, and if you put her on the plate, her home runs are liable to take a defender or two out of the park with them. Is Hikaru that strong without her armor?
選手全員剣着用の武者にして、お姫は重力操るのとかなしにすると、どうにかこうにか勝負になるんだよ。
That's why we
野
put all
球中にはだいぶアストロな感じだけど。
that's why we put all the players in Tsurugi with the added rule that Kinseigo can't use her gravity control. Then it's almost fair, although a little more cosmic than your usual game of baseball.
なかなかエキサイティングで面白い競技だ。
It's a quite an exciting way to spend an afternoon.
エキサイトしすぎて試合の終わる頃には選手の半分くらいが両足で立ってないしね。お兄
So
さん
exciting.
どうよ、興味あるでしょ。
So exciting that half the players are missing limbs afterwards. How about it, bro? Sound like fun?
かけらもありません
Not at all.
残念。ま、剣が復旧中だししょうがないか。
That's too bad, but I guess you can't play with your Tsurugi damaged anyway.
お兄さん野球好きそうなんだけどな。
You strike me as a guy who likes his baseball.
当たりだ。影明はかなりの巧者だぞ。
Right on the money. I'll have you know Kageyaki's quite the old hand.
地元ではバントの魔王と呼ばれていた。
Back in our village, they called him the Bun Master.
イケメン大王みたいな王座っすね。
That a little bit like being called Crowned Noodle King?
何を言う。あとグラブトスは神業。ライン際の打球をフェアかファールか見極める判断にかけても達人級との評判をもっぱらにしていたんだぞ。
Is this a wonderful board game? Are we referencing some Umineko and Higurashi here? Doesn't stop there. He's famous for his mastery of the grab and toss, and no one could match him when it came to declaring a foul ball. I mean, we are playing baseball. We got blonde Lambda here and blue-haired Berncastle insert here, right? That makes sense.
微妙な才能に満ち溢れてる人だな。
He's like a treasure trove of semi-useful talents. What a comment. As the two girls trade meaningless banter beside me, I pick myself up and dust myself off. The rage that seized me has receded. Not that I'm calm per se.
光る
Hikaru?
なんだ。
Yes? She turns to me with a friendly smile. Total disconnect. Nothing could be more disorienting than my sister's complete lack of tension. I can't for the life of me comprehend how she can act so normal after all that's happened. What have these 2 years meant to Hikaru? Face to face, the psychological divide I've always felt between us, even when she was hidden behind her steel mask, is even more pronounced now. Her eyes as she looks at me now are exactly the same as they were 2 years ago, as if to say nothing between us has changed. Impossible. Everything's changed. If she truly believes it has not, Hikaru is indeed insane. She has to be. He must be. My heart lashes onto that feeble certainty, desperate to know that it was some kind of sickness of the mind that drove her to become the murderous Kinsego. He's coping hard. He's coping hard. But if she isn't insane, if as she claims she's driven by reason, then what? If these 2 years of misery and death were the result of Hikaru being true to herself, and they're nothing more than an expression of hope, is it possible? Wage war against humanity and the world entirely, not out of hatred or malice or madness, but in logical pursuit of a clear, defined goal? Can any person do such a thing? If the answer is yes, if Hikaru slew her mother and brought terror to Kanto all out of a desire for her father, then what am I to do?
Kageaki?
Kageaki, is something wrong?
いや
No. I shake my head, fighting back a sudden wave of nausea. Stop deluding yourself, Kageaki. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Hikaru is waiting patiently for my reply. I turn to her and ask the most pertinent question at hand.
お前はずっとここに
Have you been living with the general all this
堀
time?
越
そうだな。故郷を離れてからこれまで、おおむねこの館を足場にしている。
Very resourceful. She's like, more or less, yeah. This manor has been my home, you could say, ever since I left our town.
なぜだ
Wait, what?
なぜ？聞かれてみれば格別の理由はない。
Why? Come to think of it, I suppose there never was a reason.
故郷を出た後、まっすぐ進んでいたらここへ行き着いたというだけの話だな。別に他の場所へ移っても構わない。
I just flew straight for a while and ended up here. So I stayed. Anywhere else would do just as well.
お姫
Princess.
構わないのだが、嫌がる奴がいる。これが理由といえば理由か。
But as you can see, a certain someone would object to my leaving, so I suppose that's the reason.
引き止められているから
If she wants you to stay,
それだけなのか
that's all.
人から好意を向けられるのは嬉しいものだ。むやみに跳ねつけるのも気が引ける。
Why should I reject her
光の
affection?
目的の障害になるなら別だが、そうでなければ意に沿ってやっても構わん。
So long as she presents no obstacle to my quest, I see no reason not to let her have her way.
それに伊豆は水も食も空気も良いしな。居心地はなかな
This
か
is
だ。
quite comfortable. The food and climate are much to my liking.
姫ありがと
I love you, princess. I sense no deception in Hikaru's words. To be expected, she's never told a lie in her life. So she's living with the general because she feels like it. Alright. What about the general's
閣
motives?
下
Your Excellency?
う。ね
Oui?
あなたはいかなるゆえんから
What are your
光の
reasons for
滞在
keeping
を望まれるのですか
Hikaru in your company? Doesn't make sense. Who would welcome into their home a guest who might reduce it to ash on a whim? Fight, flee, or hide, those are the choices when faced with Kinsego. To ask her to stay is like running after the tornado that just missed your house, an insult to the generosity of the gods who spared you. Which is why I never fully believed Hikaru was under someone's protection, even though I knew it to be the only logical explanation.
恩人なんだよね
She saved my life.
ちん
Your life?
そうなのか？
I did.
忘れられてるよふっかり殺されかかってた当ての前にさっそうと現れてくれたお姫の勇姿総天然色でマイメモリーに保存してあるのに
You forgot already. I could see it like it was yesterday, in Technicolor and everything. There I was, all beaten and broken, and along you came to save me like a knight in shining armor.
そういえば死にかかっていたな。
Alright. I do seem to remember you rather the worse for wear.
思い出した。見たところ戦えそうにないし、どうしてか歌の影響を受けないし、なんだか珍妙な生き物に思えたので殺すのをやめたんだった。
Ah, yes, it's coming back to me now. I could tell at a glance you were too weak to put up a proper fight, but for some reason Muramasa's song wouldn't work on you, so I figured, why not? Such a rare creature comes along only once in a blue moon. Might as well spare your life. See? I'm still leaning towards, well, either she's like got a hidden equipped Tsurugi, or she's a human Tsurugi, right? Like, Kinsego's song doesn't work on her? That means she's either a tsurugi or wearing a tsurugi at the moment.
そんな理由かよ。
So that's how it was.
まあお姫に当てを助ける気なんてなかったのは最初から知ってたけどね。結果的にそうなったってだけで。
Maybe she's a hybrid, a human tsurugi hybrid? Maybe. Well, I guess I always knew she wasn't there to save me. That's just the way it turned out.
でもお姫が来てくれたおかげで当てが救われたのは事実だし、なら恩に着るのは当然ってもんでしょう。
But I wouldn't be here now if she hadn't shown up, so I owe her my life all the same. I sense no deception from the general either, though unlike Hikaru, I imagine someone in her position must be quite skilled at dissembling. By my reading, the story she told is likely the truth, but not the whole truth. She must have some other reason to keep Hikaru here. Two possibilities come to mind. One, that she's devised some means of controlling Hikaru and intends to use her as a tool of conquest. But no, that simply can't be. My sister would never serve another's ends, whether by persuasion or force of arms. There exists no way to bend her will. Maybe someone screwed their tsurugi waifu and Chachamaru came out. Oh, then people have questions like, what's the age of consent for a robot? Moreover, what I've seen of their relationship precludes that possibility. It's clear Hikaru finds Origoe so inviting precisely because the general doesn't interfere in her affairs. So it's the other possibility then. Hikaru serves the general's purpose simply by virtue of serving her own. Is that it?
あえてお尋ねします。閣下が光を手元に留めておかれるのには
You'll
何
pardon
か
my
目
asking,
的と
General?
するところが終わりなのではございませんか。
Is there some goal you intend to accomplish by keeping Hikaru here?
うん、
Yep,
あるよ。
sure is.
あると聞いているな。
So I've been told.
それは
And
どのような
what
目的
might
でしょう。
that be?
まだ内緒。
It's a secret.
内緒だと聞いている。
He doesn't talk about it.
お前はそれでいいのか。
You're alright with that?
構うまい。光が野望を抱いて生きるように、他の者にも望みがあるのは当然のこと。
Certainly, I have my dream. Why shouldn't she have hers?
望みのため、光を利用したくばするがいい。それが俺の感知せのところで終始するのならどうでも構わぬことであるし、俺の妨げになるのなら、戦って勝敗を決するまでのことだ。
It's nice and refreshing. If she wishes to use me, then let her. Either our interests will not conflict, in which case I care not what happens one way or the other, or they will, in which case we fight to the death to decide who goes on. It's quite simple. Yes, so simple I can only gape in awe.
お姫と話してると、小さなことでいちいち悩んでる自分がバカに思えてこない？
Does she
あて
make
は
you
そ
feel
っち。
stupid for worrying about those little things? True.
は
I nod, not knowing what else to do. The general's answers have left me without the slightest idea of the nature of her objective. What use could there be for someone who commits indiscriminate murder as a matter of course?
お姫、朝ごはんどうする？
It's a princess. Want breakfast?
もらう。
Fine idea.
まかないに言えばくれると思うよ。
I'm sure the kitchen will be happy to fix you
今日
something.
の当番は誰だ？
Who's the cook today?
市場のおっちゃん。
Ichiba.
あの職人か。なら期待できるな。
Ah, the master
行ってこよう。
himself. It'll be a treat. With a brief farewell, Hikaru saunters off in what I assume is the direction of the kitchen, and I watch her go.
え？
So, just as Hikaru rounds the corner, the general pops up in front of me. Her smile is positively mischievous.
お兄さん、
What's good to be, bro?
これからどうするの？
Still set on leaving? You have to live the domestic life with your evil sister. Will you figure out what you're gonna do?
帰るわけにはいかないでしょうね。
But we can't do that.
おう
By evening, Muramasa has recovered enough to talk. I explain the situation concisely. Her conclusion is the same as mine.
銀星号がいると知ってはここを離れられない。
As long as Ginsega's here, we have no choice but to remain.
いつ波を巻き始めるかって思うと、目を離すのは怖いし。
Yeah, there's no way to know when she might start a massacre.
これまでもそうだったといえばそう
Though
な
I
のだが
suppose that's nothing new. Every morning for the last 2 years, I've opened the newspaper with trembling hands, dreading to read of whether another town or village was wiped off the map.
ともかくも所在を突き止めたのだ。
But now we
そ
know
の
where
り
she
を
is.
捨てる方はない。
Gotta make the best use of this knowledge.
そばにいればそれだけ。いざことが起きた時に素早く対応できるものね。
The closer we are when she does start something, the faster we'll be able to act.
そうだ。
Exactly. The problem is
問題は
その後
what happens then.
その後だ。対応ができても対処ができなければ
You may be
何
close
の
enough
意味
to
もない。
act. That means nothing unless we can stop her.
そうね
How do we prevail against such might? The difference in strength was merely astronomical before, but now it's increased 1,000-fold or more. I can't even imagine. Form the image of victory. Their attempt triggers an almost irrepressible urge to burst out in laughter. Pathetic, I know, this'll not do. However,
村正、
what do you think,
どう
Muramasa?
思う？果たして武者とはあそこまで強くなれるものなのか？
Is it possible for a Musha to be so
ちょ
powerful?
っと信じられないっていうのが本当のところ
If I hadn't seen it myself, I'd never believe it.
光には天性の才能がある。体術はもちろん、機体の運用、熱量の保有量、しのぎを操る感覚、
Hikaru's always been
お
a
よそ
genius
全
at
ての
combat.
面において完璧以上と言っていい。
Since she acquired her Tsurugi, she's also exhibited flawless handling in the air, an instinctive mastery of her shinogi, and a seemingly inexhaustible supply of energy. She's likely as close to perfection as any Musha has ever been.
だが、
But even then,
それで
あそこまではね
yeah, I know, even then,
なかなかならないと思うのだけ
no
れ
one
ど
could be that strong.
何かあるのかしら
Maybe there's something else?
単なる天才にとどまらないものが
Something besides raw talent?
白菜とか
Cooked talent?
それ意
I
味
don't
わかんない
follow. I like her response.
超白菜
Lightly seared talent.
綺麗さっぱり面白くないんですけど
That's not funny.
俺もそう思う。
Couldn't agree more.
なら言わないでよ
Cut it out.
俺は何も言っていない。
I didn't say anything. Eh?
どこから生えてくるのよ
You doing crawling down there? Crawling around.
何話に失礼なやっちゃな
How rude. A lady does not crawl.
大丈夫だ、村正。味方ではないが、とりあえず敵でもない。
Alright, Muramasa. She's not a friend, but neither is she an enemy at present.
適切な表現だお兄さん
そうそう
こんばんは
Hiya, bro.
こんばんは。
Good evening, General.
いい夜ですね
A fine night, ain't it?
月が見えます。
The moon is quite beautiful.
平然と応対しないでよ驚いてる私がおかしいみたいじゃない
Stop acting like this is normal. You're making me feel stupid.
そうか。
Sorry.
八つあたりかっこ悪い
Party pooper.
あなたがへんてこな現れ方をしなければいい話でしょ
It's your fault for coming up through the floor.
あての家だっつのどっからどう現れようがあての自由
I show up however I damn please. Still, why the floor? It's like I just came up through the floor. You're like, but why?
何よあなたこの家の子親のしつけが知れるとか言おうかしら
You live here? Where are your parents? They need to teach you some manners.
いねえし
Ain't got any.
村正、
He's the
この
master
方
of
が
the
家
house.
主だ。
はだってここ将軍様のお屋敷なんでしょ
But you said this is the general's mansion.
ああ。だから、
Yes.
堀
This is
越
General
久
Ashikaga Chachamaru,
足利茶々丸竜軍中将閣下であられる。
the governor of Horigoe. Now you understand how Kakiaki can be sexually attracted to spiders. Yes, you're like, I understand now. I understand.
知って驚け見て驚け分かったらとっととひれ伏して額を畳にこすりつけるやゲミン
I'm the big cheese here. Now let me see you grovel, peasant.
あらそうでしたのあなたが久保あなたが中将様
Oh my, how silly of me. Of course you're the general. Of course you're in charge.
何それ受け狙い人事
When did Rokuhara become a preschool?
マジ殺意湧いたわ今
Oh, now that made me want to kill a bitch.
素直な感想だけど文句ある
Just being honest, can't fault me for that.
これが他のやつに言われたんならどうとも思わねえけどさなんでだろうねこの竹アーマーに言われるとシャレにならんくらい腹立つな
You know, people talking shit usually doesn't bother me, but for some reason, I really don't want to hear that from an overgrown wood carving.
誰が竹アーマーか
Who's a wood carving? Chachamaru is the most based character. Yeah, we're in the Chachamaru route. It's gonna be fun.
素直な評価だよ文句ばっ
Just
か
being honest, right?
あなた 覚悟できてるんでしょうね。
I hope you're prepared for the consequences.
ああ、表出るか？
Wanna go, hot shit?
出てやろうじゃないの。
Time.
落ち着け村正。
Calm down, Muramasa.
いや、
No. Please.
ひでえ、しての言うことを聞きやがらね
Is that any way to talk to your master?
いいのよ。御堂はこんなことで怒らないもの。
Don't worry. Amito doesn't mind.
私を信じてくれて
He
るから
trusts me. Isn't that right?
ね。
おう
Right. An honest reply. Perfectly honest. Yep. Given the sheer intensity of Muramasa's stare, even if the thought of answering otherwise had briefly crossed my mind, I'm quite confident my innate desire for self-preservation would have crushed it.
信頼関係
Pressed.
羨ましい。
Jealous?
血管切れそうだよ。お兄さんの腹の太さに甘えやがって
Just about burst of vein. You're like a damn parasite.
甘えと親愛の区別がつかないのね。お子様ね。
It must be hard never knowing true companionship, you poor thing.
お兄さん、こんなキノコ女と組んでちゃいけない。あんたにはもっと気の利く相棒が必要だよ。
I'm warning you, bro. This fish is gonna grow on you like a fungus. You gotta cut the cord before it's too late.
こいつは来月の粗大ゴミの日に出しちまいましょう。いい剣紹介するからさ。
Let's put her out with next month's garbage. I'll find you a proper Tsurugi. Someone's gonna get sliced.
せっかくですが
While I appreciate the
ぜ
offer,
ひとも頼むよ。俺のちゃちゃまで。前々からそうしたくてそうしたくて仕方がなかったんだ。
oh yes, my darling Chachamaru, that's a wonderful idea.
任せといて。
No problem, big bro. Just leave it to me.
捏造するな。
That didn't sound like his voice at all.
やだな。真実の代弁すよ。
Did I mention I can read mine?
その首、本気で切り飛ばしたくなってきてるんだけど。
Well, then you should know how close you are to losing your head.
安いはったりかますやつほど何もできやしね。
The smallest dog barks the loudest, or didn't you know?
本当にやる気なら言う前にやってるもんな。
Real killers just rip your throat out.
いいこと言うじゃない。そうね。それは正しいって認めてあ
He
げ
said
る。
something that actually makes sense.
じゃあもう、前置きはなしにしましょうか。
Shall we dispense with the formalities then?
ちびっこのくせに。
They're playing the battle music in the background. You little cretin. Look at Russia Chapter 5. That's some good stuff. That's Mayakashi, isn't it? Good stuff. On to the answers routes. I thought 5, 6, 7 were pretty good. Yeah, 5's nice. Are you a little cretin?
雲を食うとチョコレートの味がするってのは本当かどうか試してやんよ。
I'm gonna find out if spiders really do taste like chocolate.
二人とも
Ladies.
何？
Yeah.
何よ。
What?
なぜ出会った瞬間から即座にそんなにも仲が悪い
How in the world did your relationship devolve so quickly? It reminds me of a certain student and GHQ officer, only worse. Though I wouldn't have believed it possible.
こいつとは運命的にダメなの。
We were born to hate each other.
絶対に分かり合えないって一目で悟った。
I knew we'd be enemies the moment I saw her.
そうそう。
Yep,
どうしようもない感じよね。
no helping it. At least they agree about something. A small comfort.
しかし閣下一つ
That aside,
お
General.
尋ねしたいのですが
If I might be permitted a question.
3サイズ、好きな体、好きなプレー、何でも教えてあげるけど、このお邪魔雲を追っ払うまで待っててくれない？
Sure, I'll tell you anything you want, from my bust size to my favorite position, after I've dealt with Arachnocunt here. Very creative, very creative.
できればそちらを中止して閣下あなたはなぜこの村正の正体に最初から気づいておられたのです
Appreciate a moratorium on that. What I'd like to know, General, is how you're able to identify Muramasa as a Tsurugi. What? How is that not obvious? There was a spider and then there was a woman here. They even have the same color palette. Also, she lives with Ginsego, who can do the same fucking thing. How is that not obvious? They're both Kimishi. They're mother and daughter. Like, come on, man. There's so many relations. I'm surprised he needs to ask. Editing out other stuff in the stream? Oh, that's not too bad. Editing out the other stuff, like the like copyrighted stuff, no, that's fine. You just accept that as part of the cost when you're doing it. It doesn't take that long. I'm not too precise. But I don't edit out, like, when I'm editing, I don't edit out like random conversations like this. Like this will probably make the cut. I only do things that I've like flagged to remove. Like, you know, if we watch if there's like a video reaction or something, I'm gonna cut that out. But it doesn't take that much time to splice those out. It's not too bad. I think it's fair because there's people who want to watch this, right? They want to see people are watching this because they want to see, you know, a reaction or as a discussion of some things or whatever my take is on the VN as we're going through it. Presumably, if you want to watch the VN and just the VN, there are probably voiceless playthroughs you can find. If not, I'd be a little bit surprised. If someone could reasonably do that, just put the game on autoplay and make decisions every 20 minutes or whatever. With the recording going. And just come back when it's done. But I don't really want to do that because I don't really feel like that's something you should do for a visual novel. I know they can basically play themselves, but I don't really feel like that's something you should be uploading to YouTube. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's a reasonable price. It doesn't take that long. It's usually like, I don't know, like 30 minutes. There's a couple times it's taken a lot longer, but that's usually due to like some like issue with the editor or something. Or like I'm trying to add some extra spice. Like I think every time I mispronounced a character's name in one of our VNs, I ended up like editing their... I think that was I think it was like Danganronpa version 3. I think I ended up editing a sprite into every single reference to a character's name when I mispronounced it. I couldn't remember his name and he looked like Virgil, so I just edited Virgil in over top of his sprite every time or something. Like I've done a couple of those things. Those take a while, but like simple editing to axe out like reactions or really long tangents that are unrelated or long questions. Not too bad. Right. Yeah. So I think she could reasonably have intuited this. Oh. It's the obvious question. In her current form, Muramasa is indistinguishable from a flesh and blood Emishi, and the general had no reason to suspect she was otherwise. What gave it away? Oh, that? She smells like rust. I do not. And she's putting a dent in the floor. I'm not that heavy. And her wavelength screams Tsurugi. Wavelength?
そういうあれこれが積み重なってこいつはお兄さんの村正だなってのがキュピーンときたわけですよ頭のこの辺に
All that together gives me this sort of tingly feeling behind the eyes, and that's how I know.
特殊なセンスがあるんだと思っていてくれれば結構っす
Oh, the sixth sense. Pretty cool, huh? The general finishes by tossing me a mischievous grin. I sense she's not telling me everything, but pursuing the matter is unlikely to get me anywhere. It'll have to be enough that I prevented a bloodbath.
そうそう当てからも一つ聞いておきたいんだけど
Alright, I got a question for you.
何でしょうか
Please?
まだ返事をもらってなかった
Same question as
お
before,
兄
Rose.
さん結局どうするかいこれから
Stay or go?
頼めた筋合いではありませんがよろしければ
If it's not
滞
too
在
much of
の
an
お許しを
imposition,
願います
I'd like to remain here for a time.
そう言うと思ったもちろん許すよ
I had a feeling you'd say that. Of course it's fine.
筋合いだって十分あるしね遠慮は何にもしなくていいから
I don't feel like you're imposing or anything. There's a reason I invited you.
お心遣い
I
感謝い
appreciate
たします
the generosity.
ミド
Mido.
なんだ
Yes?
提案どっかその辺で野宿しましょう
Let's find somewhere else to camp outside instead. Doesn't even want to sleep under the same roof.
おめえ様が一人で行く分には全く構いませんが
I'll sleep in the woods by yourself if it means that much to you.
こんな怪しげな館にミドだけ残していけるもんですか
Like I'm gonna leave my master in this house with you.
一人で行け
Just go already.
いやよ
Not without him.
お兄さんはここにとどまるっつったろ
He's staying here. Is this where we get another decision? I feel like there's a decision before we're fixed on the Chachamaru versus the Muramasa route, right? I think there was another decision or two.
私が頼めば聞いてくれるもの
He'll come if I ask him
多
to.
分
Probably. I don't remember what the last decision we made. I know we made the she is my daughter decision. You don't think it's possible to get the Muramasa route yet? Maybe.
お兄さん
Really?
村正が立って望むの
If
であれば
Muramasa insists. I have no pressing reason to reject the proposal. As long as I remain close to Kinsego, it doesn't matter whether there's a roof over my head. And I've spent enough time on the battlefield that sleeping outside is no trouble at all. You think I'm in the road already? Okay, I wasn't sure if there was an opportunity to... I think I was a couple of decisions off. Oh well. Maybe I'm in the road already? I don't remember. I know I was near the end of the options. Because the next route is Muramasa, right? Yes, Chachamaru has shouted about how much she likes wieners already. That was quite funny. Alright, sleeping outside is no trouble. Okay, are we sticking with...
ほら
But what did I tell you? Yeah. As long as we remain close to Kinsego, the roof doesn't matter. So what did I tell you?
お兄さん剣を甘やかしすぎです
Seriously, bro, you're spoiling your Tsurugi.
打作がますます劣化しちまうよ
That's how bad Tsurugi go. Really bad.
いえ問題ありません
It's of no concern.
そうかな
Gotta disagree with you.
甘やかそうがどうしようが村正が己の役割を忘れることはありませんから必要な時に
Whether I
必要な
spoil her or
働
not.
きを必ずする
Muramasa will never forget her duty. When the time comes, she'll do what needs to be done.
それは疑いなく信じら
Of
れ
that,
ま
I
す
have no doubt in
それ
that.
で
That's enough
自
for
分
me.
には十分です自分が村正の信頼を裏切らない限り村正の性能が劣化することなどありえ
As
ま
long
せん
as I don't betray her trust, Muramasa will never allow her condition to deteriorate.
そして御堂が私を裏切ることなんてありえないから私は常に完全な性能を発揮できる
My master will
No.
never betray me.
こういうものなのよ
We'll always be in peak condition. See? This is what a true joining looks like.
互いを認めるしてと剣っていうのはね以前はともかく今の私たちはちゃんと縦脇の儀も済ませて血縁してるのお子様が何を言ったって壊される間柄じゃないんだから
Things were different before, but now he and I have accepted each other. There's nothing that can break our bond. Certainly not the disapproval of a brat like you. Start sweating nervously as I know this is the Chachamaru route.
分かった
Get it now?
天井のシミなんかこないだよりも増えてねえかな
Just me, or is that hole in the ceiling bigger than before?
聞きなさいよいい話してたんだから
We were having a moment here.
ただののろけだろつかおめえ本気でお兄さん外に引っ張り出すつもりか
An obnoxious as hell moment, maybe. So what? You're really gonna drag him out into the woods? Ruining that character moment.
銅鐸は六章が悪化するだけで済むけどよ人間は風邪ひいたりとかするんだぜ
A little more rest won't do you much harm, but what are you gonna do if Big Bro here catches a cold, eh?
分かってます冗談に決まってるでしょ
I was only joking, of course.
Ato.
We'll stay right here.
銅鐸って誰のことか
I've never been rusty in my life.
良いのか
Are you sure?
私がここにいたくないのも御堂を置いておきたくないのも本当だけど
May not like this place
わ
one
ざ
bit
わ
for
ざ
the
野宿
sleeping
するのも
outside.
バカみたいだし
That would just be silly.
それに御堂一度口にしたことを翻すのは嫌なんでし
Besides,
ょ
you've already asked. I know you won't want to go back on your word.
そうだな
Rejecting a service you requested is insulting in the extreme. I'd rather not be rude if at all possible.
気を使わせたか
Sorry for the trouble.
大げさよ
Don't be silly.
では中将閣下
Well, now
改
that's
めて
settled.
お世
General,
話になります
it appears we'll be taking advantage of your hospitality.
なんか気に食わない紆余曲折があったけど結論がそうなったならまあいいか我が家だと思ってくつろいでねお兄さん
Could have done without the rom-com, but whatever. Make yourself at home, big bro.
は
Whatever works. Whatever works. Thanks.
くつろぐから出て行ってくれないあなた邪魔よ
You know what would really help us relax? You. Gone.
礼節の水準に差がありすぎじゃねえ
Sit
か
into
この
this
始
fucking
終
spectrum, I swear.
そっかおめえこそ出てけよここはお兄さんの部屋だっつうの
This is his room. You get out.
私たちは一緒で構わないけどね
Fine together. Aren't we?
ま
Well, I suppose.
男女同金なんて不埒な真似当ての館では許しませんおめえにもちゃんと部屋やるからそっち行け
There'll be no lewdness under my roof, damn it. You can go to your own room.
そう
Go give me one.
誰か
Hey, anyone out there?
お呼びでございましょうか。
You called, my lady?
そこの姉ちゃん物置に連れてってやって。
Show this chick to the nearest closet.
Huh?
Of course.
ちょっと
Wait a second.
ほら行けよ。その人がいい部屋に案内してくれるから。
Go on, get going. I told her to give you the best room in the house.
今はっきり物置って言ったでし
I
ょうが
heard you say closet, you little...
いらねえこ
Oh,
と聞いてや
you
る。
heard that, did you? Huh?
とことん決着つけないとダメなのかしら。
Looks like we still have some business to settle.
上等だほら。おとなしく物置に片付いてりゃいいもんを。スクラップ工場の方が趣味だってんだらそうしてやる。
Bring it on. You'll be wishing you took the closet when I send you to the scrap heap.
やってみなさいよ。
See you try. And just like that, the flames are reignited. It's an inferno of raw, unbridled emotion. Two souls colliding with primal intensity. It might be beautiful in a beast of the wild kind of way if it weren't such a menace to society.
お客様、お茶などご用意いたしましょうか。
Would you like some tea, sir?
夜も遅いの
No, thank you. It's getting late.
でお気持ちだけいただきます。
かしこまりました。
Of course,
で
sir.
は、ごゆるりとお過ごしくださいませ。
Please make yourself comfortable. Not bloody likely. Huh?
村正
Muramasa?
回復したてで無茶するからだ。オートダウンしやがったな。
Looks like she overheated. Her fault for not giving herself time to recover.
分析がお早い。
You can tell. Even with my link to Muramasa, it took me several seconds to realize what happened. My surprise was part of that, but still. Diagnose someone else's Tsurugi at a glance. The general makes it seem so simple, when in fact it's anything but. Only a trained smith could be capable of such appraisal.
ちょっとしたコツを知ってるからね。
Oh, I have my ways.
こいつは大丈夫。
Maybe don't
心
worry.
配ら。明日の朝には復旧するよ。
She'll be back to normal in the morning.
か
I see.
予定通り物置へ売っちゃっておけば OK。
Oh, it's okay. It's cool if I put her in a closet, right?
売っちゃっておくわけにはいかないのですが。
That would be an exceedingly poor idea.
じゃあその辺に。さあお兄さん。
Fine. She can sit in the corner. Now. Back on our lap.
寝ましょ
Let's sleep.
休むのには
I
同意
would
し
like
ま
to
すが
sleep, yes.
う。うん。
Go right ahead. Could you fall asleep if someone just sat on your lap and was like, alright, sleep. Sleep, sleep, sleep. The heck? It wouldn't matter who was doing that. I'd just be like, the fuck?
閣下、
Please go to
ご
your
自
room,
分の
General.
お部屋へ。
So weird.
ここで寝る。
I want to sleep here.
先ほど、男女同金は許さないと確か
You
に。
said something about lewdness under your roof?
記憶にございませんな。
Great, I can't recall.
それは政治家答弁というもの。
That's what politicians say to avoid inconvenient questions. What a coincidence!
政治家っす。
As it so happens, I'm in politics too.
そうですね。
A fair point.
初めてってわけでもなし。
It's not our first time either.
今朝のことですか。
You speak of this morning?
うん。
Yep.
あれは、自分が目覚める頃合いを見計
I
らって
assumed
ついて
you'd
いた
come
ので
to wake me.
なくて、毎晩ひっついて寝てました。お兄さんをここに連れてきてからずっと。
When in fact I shared your bed for 3 nights straight.
風紀上、
This is
よろし
not
くあり
proper
ません。
behavior.
嬉しいくせに。
It's what you say, but you really like it.
はい。
Yes.
嬉し
You
い。
do? You do? Wait, she's blushing? She was just teasing? Maybe she doesn't have that ability to read minds, she promises. I assume she doesn't, but you know. You never know. After meeting Otori, it's possible.
健全な成人男性のつもりですので、女性との接触は欲求にかないます。
As a healthy adult male, I appreciate any opportunity for female contact.
素直なおすみ。うりうり。
Aren't you the honest one? Nudge, nudge. Wait, people don't usually speak nudge,
閣
nudge.
下、
Please.
問題が発生しま
This
す
is。becoming a situation.
眠れるんだ。
I can sleep here.
はい。
Pardon?
お兄さんと一緒にいると。少しだけ。
You, I can sleep. Only a little, but still.
なんでかな。他の音が遠くなって、
Like,
お兄さんの音だけが聞こえる。
every other sound just fades away and all I hear is you.
お兄さんの音は、
Sounds
手を
gentle.
苛まない。
Not like the rest. What is she talking
と
about?
もあれ閣下、 その望ましからぬ可能性を未然に摘み取るため
Be that as
必
it
要
may,
な配慮
I'd ask you to consider the risk of, well, complications arising from this arrangement.
家賃をくれ。
Call it rent.
家賃
Rent.
ですか。
You're paying with your body now, Kageyaki.
金よこせなんて言わないから。
I'm not asking for
こうさ
money.
せてくれるだけでいいからさ。
Just let me sleep here.
だからね
Whatever else she might be in life, Hikaru and Chachamaru is still a girl. Realizing that to reject what is clearly a heartfelt request, it would take more willpower than I seem to possess.
港影明の自制心にご期待ください。
I will prove that your faith in Minato Kageyaki's self-control was not misplaced.
かっこいいぜお兄さん。でも別に自制しなくたっていいからね。
Spoken like a true gentleman, but I won't mind if you let it slip.
ご冗談を。
You jest.
お姫に見つかったら怒られるかな。まあ大丈夫か。
Think the princess would be pissed if she found us like this? Well, not to worry.
さっき起きたばっかりだし。
She just woke up. Did I hear her right?
お兄さん、お姫にバラしちゃダメだよ。
Will be our
これ
little
は
secret.
内緒で。
話しません。どうしてか即座に撲殺されるような予感がします。
Something tells me the consequences would be extraordinarily painful.
鋭いね。
Smart guy.
最初からそんなリスクを冒さずに済む
Oh,
の
I
は
can't help but feel it would be best to avoid this risk entirely.
聞こえんな。
Sorry, didn't
聞
catch
こえん
it.
ね
Bedtime,
じゃ
bedtime.
あ、寝よ寝よ。
My jab has all the impact of a mosquito's bite. Not that I expected more. I've already resigned myself to this role.
お兄さん、
Yes?
眠い？
Tired?
まだ体に疲労が残っているようなので、それなりには
I'm still
ま
somewhat
ぶたに
fatigued
重
from
さ
my
を感じ
ordeal,
るほどではあり
but
ま
I
せん
feel。no pressing need to sleep.
じゃあ、一つお願い。
Well, in that case, could you do me a favor?
どのような
What might that be?
何でもいいから、お話ししてくれると嬉しいな。
About anything. I'd really like that.
話
Won't that
です
make
か
it harder to sleep?
うん。当ては逆なの。耳元で話しかけられてると、
For me, it's
雑
the
音があま
opposite.
り気にならなくなるから。
A voice in the ear. My ears drowns out the rest of the noise.
その声自体が不愉快だったら意味ないけどね。お兄さんは大丈夫。
Of course, most voices are just as bad, but not yours. Yours is nice.
わかりました。
I think I can manage.
その程度のことなら。
感謝。
Thanks.
では、学生時代、自分が所属していた山岳部での出来事を
Let's see. Back in school, I was a member of the hiking club, and one day while we were out in the mountains, we came across a river? I didn't realize it, but it was... that's weird. I am power? What it said, I believe. Yep. Here we go. Gave us it a second time. The next morning begins somewhat poorly. I wake up with a dull pain behind the eyes, the lingering aftermath of what I assume was a nightmare. I don't recall what the dream entailed, but as is usually the case with nightmares, that's likely a blessing. The general's absent, but Muramasa is in the corner, still in spider form. I make to address her, but the door opens before I can speak.
おはようございます。
Good morning, sir.
おはようございます。
お食事の用意ができておりますが、
Would you
いか
care
が
for,
なさいますか？
would you care for some breakfast?
いただきます。
かしこまりました。
Certainly, just a
少
moment.
々お待ちくださいませ。
中将閣下はどちらに？
Where's the general?
先ほどお食事を済まされ、執務室に入られております。ご用が終わりでしたら、お取り次ぎいたしますが。
She's in her study, sir. She awoke some time ago. Shall I inform her you request an audience?
いえ、
No,
結
no, that
構です。
won't be necessary. After breakfast, I repair to the garden. As is to be expected, after 3 days lying motionless, my limbs are heavy and slow to respond.
なまっているな。
I need to get back in shape. It's been 3 days. I haven't been lifting.
病み上がりだもの。
Well, you did just recover from injuries? Muramasa cautions me from her perch atop a nearby rock. Don't overdo it, she means to say. Kinsego's here. My heart pounds to think of how this peaceful manor could erupt into battle at any moment. But if I push myself too hard out of impatience, I'll just end up with more injuries. So I suppress my anxiety and begin with some light stretches. Muramasa's relief is obvious.
銀星語。
Kinsego. I consider my enemy, that terrible phantom always present in the back of my mind. Now that Kinsego has unleashed the full power of graviton control, her speed has become such as to defy not only the chance of responding to her attacks, but even the hope of understanding them after the fact. Then there's that black hole to contend with, an all-consuming storm from which not even light can escape? Is our power a match for hers? No. Resistance is futile. Objectively, I can reach no other conclusion. Kinsego's abilities now rival the most fantastic legends of Musha. Only a similarly fantastic Musha could hope to defeat her attacks. I accept that, not as an excuse to throw up my hands, but as a clear and present truth that must be confronted. We need a way to get more power, don't we? It only means I can't resist her attacks. Muramasa's silence tells me she reached the same conclusion. There's no way to resist Kinsego's might, in which case we must prevent her from using it. Take the first strike, defeat her before she makes her move. It doesn't of course mean charge in swing and hope to bury her under a hail of blows. Such an approach is easy prey for a single well-placed counter. If I want to preempt my opponent successfully, I have to choose the correct moment at which to strike. A nearby tree rustles softly as a starling alights upon one of its branches. I turn to face the resting bird and take my stance. See without seeing. There's a concept that in the greater martial arts world is known as taking sen, where sen refers to a specific window of action in combat. Most people with a passing interest in martial theory will be familiar with gono-sen, which is the window that occurs after your opponent has struck. You evade, deflect, or otherwise neutralize this attack, and then finish him with your counter. When you take sen, on the other hand, you make your move before your opponent completes his. In order for a warrior to strike his opponent, he must first make a conscious decision to attack. This shifts his focus away from defense and renders him temporarily vulnerable. The chance that this presents is called sen, and if you can seize it, victory is all but assured. This is easier said than done, however. Unlike gono-sen, sen is very difficult to detect. It requires you to pick up on minute signals often invisible to the eye that your enemy is about to make his move. The window is also extremely small, as no one takes their time after committing to an attack. Most people waste less than a second between intent and action, while armed or trained martial artists need only a fraction of that to strike. In other words, you must spot a barely perceptible change and respond to it in literally the blink of an eye, all while moving faster than your opponent. It's enough to make you question whether such a feat is truly possible. The Yoshino Onryu describes this feat as seeing without seeing, even. In the darkest night, the true warrior never loses his path. And beyond this, there's an even higher level of perception. Muso, the absence of thought. As the name suggests, the warrior who has reached Muso will no longer think about anything. He'll be beyond such considerations as sen or gono-sen. Why should thought be a prerequisite to action? Is it not a waste of time to form your intent before you strike? The traditional taking of sen proceeds as follows: first, recognizing your enemy is attacking, next, deciding to preempt his attack, finally commanding your body to do just that. Too slow. Much too slow. Far more efficient instead for your body to respond of its own accord at the precise moment the attack begins. In battle as in business, it always pays to cut out the middleman. This concept is called muso. But reasonable as it may want to eliminate the delay, or maybe to want to eliminate the delay, it is in fact a defiance of reason. Human beings are not plants, but creatures of thought and judgment, unable to perform complex actions without a conscious exercise of will. Even so, the Yoshino Onryu, like most martial schools, sets Muso as the ultimate goal of training and posits 2 steps by which it may be reached. First can be summed up as practice makes perfect. Through endless, mind-numbing repetition, the disciple of a martial art carves his techniques not into his mind but into his muscles, his blood and the marrow of his bones. He's then able to execute them without a conscious exercise of will. When a warrior has thus mastered a technique for every possible situation, he's completed the first step. It's difficult, no question, but with enough raw determination, it should be possible for anyone. The second step is the true challenge. Forget. Recall again my father's teachings, his stern voice echoing in my skull. No man exists in a vacuum. We're each affected by our wants and needs, our experiences and goals, the people around us. Forget them all and let the world cease to hold meaning. The man who cares about nothing cannot be moved. He'll be free of all doubt, all fear, and all thought. This is the true key to Muso. Achieve it and you'll have no need of eyes or ears. These organs are too closely tied to the brain, the seat of consciousness, to help you. Your body itself is all you'll need. For it can grasp the flow of battle at its purest and most primal and respond to your enemy's intent without the restraint of needless thought. Muso, the concept is simple enough to understand, but how many throughout history have actually I've actually succeeded in realizing its mythical power. I feel like a fool, an arrogant fool, for thinking I can match those warrior sages. And yet I have no choice. Damn, he actually took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say, and yet he has no choice. My enemy's techniques are too powerful to resist once unleashed. I must preempt her attack, and for that I'll need to react to it instantly without any time lost to thought. And yet, even with an instantaneous response, I'll be lucky if I pull 50-50 odds. A moment's hesitation will end me. It all comes down to this. Muso is my only hope of defeating Ginsego. Can't hurt to try. That starling will do. I'll not use my senses, but my soul to perceive it, and snatch it from its branch the moment it moves to take flight. No big deal, I'm just gonna see a bird like 10 feet away and be like, I'll grab it when it goes to take flight. Looks like you have some practicing to do.
Kakka, お客様が参られました。
Pardon me, General, there's someone here to see you.
ん？誰？
Who?
古賀の
The Reverend.
ああ。なんだ。もう来たのかよ。
Damn. That was faster than I expected.
どうして？
Send him in.
は
At once.
よう、托発か？
Yo, begging for alms?
インシュアッラー。
Inshallah.
なんでだよ。
You're a Muslim now, indeed. Muslim greeting, how's it going?
ふふ久しゅうござるな、チャチャマル殿。
It's been some time, Chachamaru.
久しいってほど経ってね。あとそろそろ傘取れよ。
Take that damn hat off already. It's Doshin, everyone's favorite.
おう、
Oh,
これ
pardon
は
me.
ご無礼つかまつった。ほう。
It's better.
土鍋登場。
Your head looks more like a pot every time I see you. What a comment.
シャツボくらいの風格はござらんかの。
A pot of exceedingly high quality, I hope.
あと10年よく磨くんだな。ねえ、何の用さ。古賀の久保の同心坊主。
Polish it for another 10 years and we'll see. So, what does the governor of Koga, Yusa Doshin, want with me?
元より承知しておいででござろ
Oh, surely you must know.
いやー、さっぱりですね。
Why don't you tell me?
う。お人が悪い。わかりました。ではそれがしから。
You do love to make people beg. Well, alright, if that's how you want it.
頃合いでござる。不堕落にお戻りくだされ。
It's time, Chachamaru. Return with me to Fudaraku.
あては鎌倉防衛の役目を怠って、大正領殿下の恩義を危うくさせた抜け作ですよ。
Isn't that a
謹
little
慎を
soon?
解くには、まだちょっと早くね。
I'm supposed to be under house arrest for letting the shogun get killed?
謹慎も何も。そのような沙汰、幕府は下しておりますまい。あくまでチャチャマル殿が自発的になされたこと。
The shogunate gave no such order. You removed yourself here of your own volition.
どのみち無罪放免とはいかねえだろ。手間を省いただけのつもりでいるけど。
You gotta punish me sooner or later, right? I just saved you the trouble.
いやいやいや、確かに失態と申さば失態ではござろうが。
You think us desperate to see someone hang? Well, it's true you bear some responsibility.
宝刀参拝の折、八幡宮にて何が起きたのか、事件の概要さえつかめぬうちに罰を
Well, the
云々して
details
も
of the
仕方
incident
がござ
itself
ら
are
ん。
in question.
まだ全然。
Still haven't learned anything?
皆目。殿が八幡宮ごと消え去った。疑いの余地なき事実があるばか
They
りで
know
ござ
nothing
る。
at all. All we know is what everyone knows, that the shogun vanished along with Hachiman Shrine.
ふん。
Oh, how about that?
チャチャマル殿の責任が問われるにしても、事の次第が明らかにされた後の話。今は幕閣の動揺を引き締めるため、ご貴殿の力が必要でござる。
I'm curious if Kageyaki's father survived. He was near ground zero, so theoretically, if the black hole opened up, he might have been sucked in. Because he is near Chachamaru, right? And Chachamaru killed the shogun, who I would hope. I don't know if she disposed of the body herself, but I was kind of assuming that the shogun's body would have been sucked up by the black hole. Maybe he held onto a tree or some shit, who knows? So, we can worry about assigning blame after the truth came to light. For now, it's far more important to maintain order in the ranks, and for that, we need your help.
用が済んだら罪状を決めて処分するってか。
You'll wait to dispose of me until after I've helped you.
全然面白くねえぞおい。
Not funny, dickhead.
冗談でござる。 土台ありもせぬ罪を問うなど馬鹿げた話。
A jest, I assure you. It would be foolish to punish you for something that wasn't your fault.
当てに罪がないって？
It wasn't my fault the Shogun died?
無論
Of course not.
殿は武人であられた。そして武人が何者かに害されたのであれば、それは本人の不覚というものであって他人の失敗ではござらん。
The Shogun was a warrior. When a warrior falls in battle, it's his own failure and no one else's.
まったく殿も醜態を晒してくれたわ。天下を制そうと最後がムクロのありかもしれずときては牛刀旅の生涯であろう
A
に。
conqueror of Yamato, dead without a corpse to burn. Talk about ending with a whimper.
白状だな。
I can see you're so damn broken up about it.
何さ。
What?
いやいや、少々驚いたのでござる。
Nothing, I was just surprised.
そこでご貴殿がお怒りになられるとは夢だに思わなかったものでしての。
I never expected you to chide me for my lack of tears.
別に怒っちゃ
I
うね。
wasn't.
おや、これはそれがしの見立て違いか。
Did I
申し
hear
訳
wrong?
ござる。
Forgive me.
謝らなくてもいいけど。ね、話はそんだけ。
I don't need an apology. Anyway, is that all you've got to say?
不堕落に途上していただけますかな。
Will you return with me to Fudoraku?
シシクとライチョウはそんなに手に負えねえか？
Are Shishku and Raito giving you that much trouble?
ありていに申せば。
One might say that.
どっちも別にバカじゃねえだろ。バカだけ
They're
ど
not。stupid. Well, not stupid.
物の道理はわきまえておられるが、ご両所とも対立する相手とは真っ向からぶつかる以外の選択をできぬ気性でござっての。
They understand how things must be, but neither has the temperament for anything other than a full frontal assault against its enemies.
いささか持て余しており申す。
That's all I can do to keep them from razing Yamato to the ground in retribution.
よく言うぜ。おじじがいた頃も六原の手綱を実質のところで握っていたのはあんただ。
Yeah, right. Even when Gramps was there, you were the one who was really pulling the strings.
今さら漁せないなんてことはねえだろう。頭の上の重しが取れてやりやすくなったくらいだろうが。
I'm pretty sure he used the Shogun as a lever to make sure his stuff got carried out. So he could just win the Shogun over and the others would be forced to follow. Here, telling me you can't control Rokuhara, I'd have figured it'd be a lot easier now that the Shogun's weight's off your back. Nope. That's what I think's the problem.
おお、それは買いかぶりと申すもの。同心坊主ごときにそんな器量はござらん。
Oh, you have an awfully high opinion of my abilities. This great humble monk is no great leader.
シシク殿とライチョウ殿の間を取り持つのに四苦八苦するばかり。殿の失踪から案件はたまる一方でござるのにろくろく手もつけられず。
I've been
こ
so
れでは
preoccupied with
幕府は
keeping
瓦解を
Shishku
待つ
and
のみ。
Rideshow from each other's throats. I haven't had time to give my lord's disappearance the attention it deserves. At this rate, the Shogunate will collapse from within. I mean, I honestly don't think Raicho could keep the Shogunate together. He's kind of just bad at leading and discussing stuff. But it is what it is.
天下万民のためでござる。チャチャマル殿。
For all the people of
どうか
Yamato,
力を
I
お
beg you,
貸しください。
Chachamaru, lend me your power.
要はシシクとライチョウがいちいちうるさいあんたを敵視し始める前に
In other
干
words,
渉剤としてうってつけのやつを呼び戻しておきたいって
you're
のな。
worried Shishku and Raicho might start looking at you as a rival, and you want someone there you can use as a shield?
お茶はまだでござるかの。
Where's that tea?
出さねえよ。
Tea? You ain't
虫
getting
の
no
いいじ
tea.
じいだ。
チャチャマル殿。この通りお頼み申す。ご貴殿にしても伊豆に引きこもっていたところで面白いことは何もござるまい。
I'm asking you sincerely for your support, and surely you yourself are growing bored out here in Izu?
そんなことないもんね
Oh,
だ。
I've got a few things going on.
鎌倉防衛の責任については自ら謹慎する態度を見せられた。それだけで十分でござる。以後一切誰にも追及はさせぬこと。この遊佐同心がお約束いたす。
The contrition you've shown in putting yourself under house arrest is more than sufficient. Let's say your punishment's been served and that there'll be no further inquiry into your responsibility as regards the Shogun's death.
お求めとあらば
If
一
you wish,
筆残しましょうぞ。
I'll even put it in writing.
一つ仮ということで。
And I'll owe you a
い
favor?
か
How
が
about that?
で
How
ご
about
ざろ
that?
うか。
あんたに貸してもな。
Aren't a lot of Andy's guys servants. What good's that gonna do
剣
me?
馬の労をいといませぬぞ
どうも。
それがし家臣のつもりでチャチャマル殿のために働きましょ
I'll
う。
swear myself to your service if that's what it takes. And now you know he's joking, if it wasn't obvious.
いらねえよ。 こんなあからさまに腹黒い関心。どこの斎藤道山だよ。
Oh hell no, the last thing I need is a servant as nefarious as you. You'd screw me harder than Saito Dosan?
その申されようは心外でござる。ならばそれがしの誠意をご覧あれ。
It seems my sincerity is being called into question. Very well, I'll give you some proof. How are you
何
doing?
する気だ？
足を舐めさせていただこうかと。
I thought I'd lick your feet?
金取るぞてめえ。
I'm gonna charge you for this, you fuck!
難
You're more
儀
stubborn
な
than
お方
expected.
よの。
もうこいつ殺しちゃおうかな。
Killing you right now.
いかがなされた？
Is something the matter?
同心坊、あんた変なの連れてきてねえか？
Doshin, did you drag rats into my home?
はて、
Pardon?
当ての方にはこんな堅能なやつに付け狙われる覚えなんてないんだけどな。今の
Pretty
と
sure
こ
I haven't done anything to piss anyone off this bad. Yet.
ほう、
Oh, ho.
これはかかってきよったかな。
So they did take the bait.
なんだ？
Bait?
いや、先日不堕落で遊びましての。岡部の姫を魚に少々。
A little thing that happened at Futaraku. I engaged in some light sport with the Okabe princess.
ああ、報告は聞いてるよ。能舞台にかこつけてなんか愉快なことをやったんだって。
Oh, that. I heard you invented a whole new genre of no. Glad I wasn't there.
お聞き及びでござったか。
Heard already.
いや、お恥ずかしい。
Why, how embarrassing.
たまには本気で恥じろよ、エロ坊主。時雄も相当いじめたらしいじゃねえか。
Like you even know what shame is, you giant walking cock. I hear you even fucked with poor Tokyo.
教育のつもりでござるがの。
I'm just trying to teach him the way of things.
嘘こけ。
Now that's bullshit. It's just my nature up
こ
here.
の悪趣味はそれがしの業。どうし
Much
よう
too
もご
late
ざ
to
らぬ
change it
わ。
now. Well, Ishijo's not around to try and kill him, so unless things go very poorly, he's probably not dying.
で、
And now
これ
this.
か。
ネズミは出てくるのをただ待つより、餌で釣り出して捕まえる方が上策でござってな。岡部の残党どもにしてみれば、今は隠忍自重の時。しかしそれを許しては我らには不都合。
You know, I think it would be kind of funny if Chachamaru just said, "Hey, you guys looking to kill Doshin? If you don't kill anyone else, fucking go for it, man." I think it'd be funny if she just leaves him to the wolves, and he ends up dying because she's like, "I don't feel like fighting. You do your shit." It's like, you die. I don't give a fuck. If you wreck my house, I'll kill you. Bye. I think that would be funny, but I don't know if Chachamaru would actually do that.
最初から挑発が目的だったっての？
So this whole thing's meant to provoke them?
やってしもうた後でそういうことにしておけば、シシク殿への弁明も立つと思ったまででござる。
No, but it made a fine excuse when Shishiku demanded an explanation afterwards.
救えねえ。
Good to know.
それで、どうする？
Anyway, what do you want to do?
チャチャマル殿のお手を煩わせるべき筋合いではござらんな。のう、天井裏の御仁よ。
I see no reason to trouble you with this. Don't you agree, my friend behind the ceiling?
それがしが相手でなくば、お主とて張り合いがあるまい。
My head you want after all?
逃げたな。
Got away.
手応えはあったが、なかなかにしぶといやつ。
I got a piece of him, though less than expected.
もっとも、この館から抜け出ることはかなうまい。
Still, he'll never make it out of this manor.
変な面倒持ち込みやがって。
And you just had to bring your troubles with you.
申し訳ござらん。これで仮二つでござるな。
Two I owe you.
あてはまだ鎌倉に戻るなんて言ってねえ
I
ぞ。
haven't agreed to go back to Kamakura yet.
チャチャマル殿。
But Chachamaru.
もうちょっと待ってろ。
Give me some time.
近いうちに戻る。時期を見てな。
I beg him. I need to take care of a few things first.
時期とは
Such as?
そりゃこっちの話だ。ま、2ヶ月も3ヶ月も待てなんて言わねえから安心しろ。
That's my business. Don't worry, it won't take more than a few weeks or so.
わかりました。
Very well.
不堕落にてお待ちいたす。
I'll be waiting at Futaraku. She's like, I need to wait for the route to finish. It'll be 3 weeks.
あ、
Cool.
では、
Time for
そ
me
れ
to
が
be
し
off.
はごめんつかまつる。
帰れ帰れ。塩まいちゃる。
Damn right it is. Get out of here before I start throwing things.
チャチャマル殿。
Oh, one last thing.
まだなんかあんのか？
For fuck's sake, what now?
将たる者、破滅に見入られてはなるまいぞ。
A leader of men must never become enamored of ruin. Oh, no?
わからぬ。何がそこまでチャチャマル殿を絶望させているのか。
I can't imagine what's caused you such
わ
despair.
かるのは、その瞳に破滅が救っているということのみ。
I see a dark hunger in the depths of your eyes. A hunger for destruction.
これがいずれ何をもたらすの
I
か。
fear what it will one day bring. Given that Chachamaru died in one of the routes, it didn't do that much.
そこのお坊さん、
Hey, monk,
ん？
一つ相談があります。
got a question for you.
それがしでお役に立てるなら何なりと。
If I may be of service.
ヤニワに電波系だか遠回しな宗教勧誘だかものすごく遠回しな口説き文句だかさっぱりわからんことをのたまり始めたやつがいるんだけど、こいつどうしたらいいですか？
I got this guy hanging around who's really fucking bad at taking a hint. He keeps trying to make me join his cult or suck his dick or something. What do you think I should do with him?
それは石でも投げて追い払うしかあるまいの。
Oh, you just gotta throw rocks until he goes away.
失礼。
Excuse me.
クソ坊主が。
Fucking monks, man.
果ては絶望なんかしてね。
Me?
疲れ
Despair?
てるだけだ。
I'm just tired, that's all. Nap time?
何やら騒がしくなってきたな。
Oh yeah, she went boom with whatever is left of Kinsego in the Otori route. I keep thinking out the I don't know why, but for some reason I keep thinking she survived that, and I'm like, there's no evidence she would. She should be gone. It's rather noisy all of a sudden.
そうね。
I wonder what
何かあ
happened.
ったのかしら。
I can hear people running and voices crying out in alarm. No sounds of battle, but something out of the ordinary has clearly happened.
銀星語ではないな。
Not Kinsego, is it?
ええ。
No. Muramasa's tone is certain. If Kinsego appeared, we'd already be knee-deep in corpses. There's no need for us to involve ourselves in matters unrelated to our enemy. I decide to return to my training.
無双。
The absence of thought. I know when I started that it would take more than an afternoon to reach my goal. The most talented warriors spend their lives striving towards Muso, and in the end, even they are subject to the will of the gods. If I can even grasp a fragment of understanding, it'll be far more than anyone my age has a right to hope for. Is agreed to demand more than my share? Well, perhaps, but a fragment simply will not do. I must realize Muso in full if I'm to defeat my foe. And that's why, foolish though I know it to be, I can't help but feel discouraged, having made no progress in these past 2 hours.
焦るな。
My man's like, I need to master the sword in 2 hours. I can understand him, though. You're like, damn, I just need to get this done as fast as possible. Why is it taking so damn long? Calm down, calm down. Impatience won't help, and neither, of course, will despair. Let's try again. This time, I'll use that hanging leaf as my target. It looks about ready to drop any second now. Without relying on sight or sound, I'll sense the precise moment it falls and catch it before it touches the ground. Now. I have it.
ごめん。声かけようか迷ったんだけど。
Sorry, I wasn't sure if I should say something.
うわ、
お主、感情表現が苦手か？
You must not be accustomed to expressions of emotion.
失礼いたしました。鍛錬中にて全く気づかず。
Please excuse me, I was so focused on my training I failed to notice your presence.
いやいや、謝るには及ぶまい。いたずら心を起こし、黙って近づいたこちらの日に決まっておるからな。
No need to apologize. I'm the one who snuck up on you. Couldn't help it myself. You presented such an inviting target. The monk laughs heartily. Who is this man of a mountain of a man? I'm sure I would have remembered seeing him around the estate.
しかし、鍛錬とな。
You say you were training?
口はばったい申しようでありました。
Call it training would perhaps be presumptuous.
かどうかは聞いてみるまでわからぬ。お若い方、
Allow
い
me
か
to
な
be
る
the judge
鍛
of
錬
that
をして
young
お
man.
られたのかな？
Tell me, what sort of training?
は、
Well, it's not something I'd care to discuss with strangers, especially when I have nothing to show for my efforts. Still, it's hard to refuse someone I just manhandled, however inadvertently. I have no choice but to swallow my embarrassment and satisfy the monk's curiosity.
いわゆる無双という理念を体得できないものかと。
I hope to achieve the state of mind known as Muso, if possible.
ほう、無双。
Muso, you say?
目に頼らず、そこの葉が落ちる瞬間を悟れないか試していたのです。
I was attempting to sense the movement of the leaf without using my eyes and catch it when it fell. The leaf in question is still attached to its branch.
それは生々な修行ではなし得まい。
A difficult task you've set yourself, almost like it's impossible.
いかにも。
Indeed.
高みを目指して己を鍛えるのは良きことであろうがの。 お主、
Never hurts to have high
武
goals, I
人として
suppose.
大成するが望みか
You may wish to make a name for yourself as a warrior?
いえ
No. The brief pause before I reply is not because I lack the answer, but because the answer I find surprises even me. I'm endeavoring to master the way of the sword, but mastery itself holds no meaning for me. A strange state of affairs, no question.
ただ必要なので
I simply need it.
無双を体得することが必要。
はい
Yes.
自分には倒さねばならぬ敵がいるのです
There's an enemy I must defeat.
自分よりはるかに勝る力を持った敵
An
が
enemy whose strength far surpasses my own.
ほう。そのものと戦って勝つために無双の境地を目指している。
You're striving to reach Muso in order to defeat this enemy of yours, then?
はい
なるほどの。
I see.
ごぼよろしければ
Forgive me,
ご助
Reverend.
言をくださいませんか
Might I beg a portion of your wisdom? How would he... I don't even... Okay,
助
sure.
言か。
You wish advice?
自分ごとき盆栽にはまさに雲をつかむ心地
I'm a man of meager talent. I feel as if I'm grasping at clouds. You basically are.
ちょっとあなた
Hey. Is Doshin, he likes laughing.
こんな坊さんのくせに人の悩み聞いて笑うってどういう了見よ
What kind of monk laughs at someone's problems?
ことと次第によっては一発かますからね
Maybe one reason I shouldn't smack you.
村正怒る
Calm
な
down. Calm down, Muramasa.
傍から見れば滑稽なのは間違いない
I don't blame him for finding it absurd. I myself thought it a bizarre proposition.
そんなことないものだいたい人が真剣にやってるのを茶化すってのがおかしいでしょ
No, besides, anyone can see how sincere you are. It's not right to laugh.
いや全く。
Quite right, quite right.
エミ、これは節操が悪かった。この通りお許しくだされ。
My apologies, fair Amishi. I do hope you can forgive this humble monk.
頭をお上げください助言を求めたのはこちらの勝手ごぼうが気に病まれることは何もあり
Apart
ませ
from
ん
the trolling, he's not being too much of a dick as usual. Please lift your head, Reverend. It was I who overstepped my bounds. You have nothing to be ashamed
い
of.
やいやいや。
Oh, I insist. I insist.
謝るなら傘くらい取りなさいってのよ
If you're going to apologize, at least take off your hat to do it.
村正
Muramasa.
いちいちごもっとも。しかし取るに取れぬ事情がござって。
But there are circumstances that prevent me.
このことも含めてどうかご勘弁くだされ。
Please just consider this one more offense for which I must apologize.
代わりというてはなんだが、お若い方、
Yeah,
助言をさせて
Chachamaru.
いただこう。
I can imagine Chachamaru just staring at this guy's back, being like, "Didn't I tell this asshole to leave?" It worked. Let me do as I should have done at the start, young man, and offer you some advice.
は
Gladly.
先ほど笑うたのは、お主の修行がおかしかったわけではなくての、お主の心得違いがおかしかったのよ。
I wasn't laughing because I think your goal foolish, but because you've made a rather amusing mistake in pursuing it.
心得違い
Mistake?
うん。
Indeed.
何よそれ
What's that supposed to mean? Muramasa, you're so hostile.
そも、無双とは何であろう
First,
かな。
what is Muso?
一切の執着を捨て去り何も欲さず何も求めず
The absence of
心を
care,
空として
of attachment.
世界と同化することであるかと
You empty your mind and let your soul be one with the world.
空は善に通ず。すべてを縁と欲する者、すべてを捨つるべし。
Precisely. Emptiness is the path to enlightenment. He who would possess all knowledge must first forget all he knows.
は
So I understand.
色即是空、空即是色。世に万物あれど、執着すべきものはなし。
Form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. Everything in existence changes, therefore nothing is worthy of desire.
わからぬかな？
You see?
は
Pardon?
お主は誰かと戦うために無双を求めるのであろう？
You seek Muso as a tool of battle?
はい
Yeah, yeah.
執着しておるではないか。
Then you haven't abandoned desire, have you?
勝ちに執着するがため、執着を捨てねば至れぬ境地を求める。
Yeah, that's a fair point. In desiring victory, you seek a state of mind for which you must abandon that desire.
これは道理が通るまい。
I'm afraid you've mired yourself in a hopeless paradox. Indeed, he has.
勝ちにこだわる間は 決して無双に届かぬ。無双に届いた時は勝ちなどどうでもよくなっておる。
Musou is the key to defeating your enemy, but you can't reach it unless victory means nothing to you?
いや、まこと残念だが、敵に勝つため無双を求めるというお主の修行、これは全く何の意味もない。
Seems your training has all been for naught. Good reason to laugh at him. I'll take it. The monk bursts into laughter once more, his earlier contrition all but forgotten. And still I feel no anger. What a fool I was. He's well within his rights to laugh. My mistake, as he called it, was as juvenile as they come. I'd laugh myself if I weren't so ashamed.
でもムカつく。
Still makes me mad.
仕方ない。
But he's right.
一発殴らせて。
Let me hit him.
やめておけ。この方が忠告してくださらなかったら、
Who knows how
俺
much
は
time
い
I
つ
would
ま
have
で的
wasted
外れ
not
の
for
修
him.
行をしていたかわからん。
Good point. He might be saving you some time if your goal is achievable. I should be grateful, rather, so I turn to the still cackling priest and bow.
貴重なご助言を賜りました。ご母、ありがとうございます。
Thank you for your instruction, Reverend. I'm in your debt.
いやいや。
Meanwhile, Mushing reaches emptiness by being an airhead. Well, everyone has their own way to reach void. Okay? Everyone has their own way to reach it. No, well, no.
さて、わしとしたことが、相手がこう率直だとただ笑ったままでは帰れぬ心地だの。
I've never met a man as sincere as you. I'd feel terrible leaving you with nothing but laughter.
いいから行きなさいよ、もう。次笑ったら、本当に手か足か出ますからね。
Just go already. The next time you laugh, it's not going to be pretty.
剣論剣論。で
Well,
は
you best be
手
quick
短
about
に
it.
済ませよう。お若い方、お主が求めるべきは無双ではない。
Young
無
warrior,
我
it
であ
sounds
ろ
to
う。
me. You need Muga, not Musou.
無我。
Muga. Indeed?
意味はお分かりか？
Do you grasp the
辞
meaning?
儀を終えば、己のすべてを無にすること。
You speak of the absence of self?
さよう。無双が外の世界を無とする理念であれば、無我は内の己を無とする理念。
To reach Musou, you must abandon the world without. To reach Muga, the world within.
これもまた善に通ずる方であろう。
This too is a path to enlightenment.
しかしご母、
But Reverend. A drill and strong belief will also do. Yes.
これもやはり自分には意味がないのでは。
Here, this path too is closed to me. I'm driven to defeat Kinsego by my will alone. If I abandon self, then that will vanish with it.
さて、
Well, I wonder.
どうであろうかな。敵に勝ちたいというたの。それは全くの私欲からかな。
You say you want to defeat your enemy. Is that for purely selfish reasons?
はい。
Exactly
本
right.
当に私欲のみか？
Is it really?
は、
詳しい話はしないけど、いろいろと厄介な相手だから。倒した方が世の中のためではあるでしょうね。
We can't go into details. But our enemy is a danger to everyone. I guess you could say defeating them would be better for the whole world.
村正。
もちろん。だから私たちは正義だなんて、おこがましいことを言う気はないけれど。
Of course, that doesn't mean we believe we're fighting for justice or anything like that.
いやいや、ここはそのおこがましさが寛容よ。
That's precisely what you need to believe.
お若いの。お主はその敵との戦いがまず第一に指示であるがゆえに世のためなどと称するのを恥じるのであろうが、
You see your
そ
battle
れ
as a
もまた
personal quest.
心得違い。
A responsibility no one else can share, so you consider it shameful to profess to serve the greater good, but there you've made another mistake.
と、
I don't follow.
無我にいたらば指示も私欲もすでにない。
If you reach Muga, the concern of the self will no longer exist.
あるのは世の大義のみ。その敵を撃てと欲する世の意志のみ。
You'll become an avatar of justice, a vessel of divine retribution. Meanwhile, Muramasa internally screaming. These are the things we cast aside and things we cannot stand.
お主の戦いに一辺でも大義があるなら迷うことはない。無我の境地を求めよ。
There is so much as a glimmer of righteousness in your battle, then that's your path. Go and seek the emptiness of Muga.
お主の意志が消え去ろうとも、世の意志がお主を突き動かし敵を撃つであろう。
Even when yourself is gone, the collective will of all mankind will drive you to defeat its foe.
やれ、柄でもないことをほざいたものよ。
Must be what it is to dig your own grave. Oh goodness.
お主がさような大義の武人となった暁にまず切られるはこの破壊坊主であろうにの。墓穴を掘るとはこのこと。
I will doubtless be the first villain to taste your judgment. A nice reference to a previous arc.
お若い方、そのようなものになってくれるでないぞ。わしは大いに困るからの。
Don't take my advice now, you hear? Else I'll live to regret it. Muga. I mean, he doesn't share Muramasa's philosophy, really. He has better understanding. But I don't know. I don't know if he could issue that. Meanwhile, parallel timeline, each show getting goosebumps as if some shady priest gave a lecture of justice. Yeah. Right. That must be why she hates him so much. His shenanigans and other timelines. Well, at noon, the general joins us for lunch, and she eats with youthful gusto, seemingly content to follow wherever her chopsticks lead her. Hikaru is not
全
present.
国何か騒動があった様子ですが。
あれ大したこっちゃないよ。ただのコソ泥。
There's nothing, just a thief.
なんか逃がしちまったみたいだけどね。
Seems he got
ま
away.
どうだっていい。
Yeah, no skin off my nose.
そのコソ泥ってやたらとでっかい坊さんじゃないでしょうね。
Thief wouldn't happen to be a rather large monk, would he?
ん
No?
違うけど。なんだあいつに会ったのか？
Oh, you ran into him, did you?
ちょっとね。あれ、あなたのお友達？
You could say that? A friend of yours?
そう言われると喧嘩売ってんのかてめえと返したくなる。そんな間柄です。
Who makes me want to kill you just for asking that.
気が合いそうなのに性格の悪い者同士で。
I figured you'd get along great like two mean-spirited peas in a pod.
本気で喧嘩売ってんなて
Maybe
め
I
え。
will kill you. Maybe I will.
食事中に騒ぐならあっち行ってちょうだい。
Just keep it
鬱
down.
陶しいから。
You're ruining our meal.
この足軽具足誰の家で飯食ってるつもりなんでしょうね。
Whose food did this hand-me-down Gambuson think she's eating?
それで
What'd he
あい
say?
つなんか言ってた？
別に勘に触る大笑いを聞かされただけよ。
Nothing. All he did was laugh his stupid bald head off. Muramasa seemed surprised to learn that the monk wasn't behind this morning's disturbance. It seemed plausible given the timing, though for my part I'm relieved it wasn't the case. Well, I'm certainly under no obligation to detain the general's enemies as a guest and a freeloader, really. I would have felt bad if I let one escape, and at the same time, I would not have wanted to betray the monk who offered freely such helpful advice. Muga.
お兄さん
What's wrong?
サワラ嫌い？
Don't like mackerel?
は
No. I quite
Yeah.
enjoy it.
そのようなことはありません。
そう箸で挟んだまま固まってるからよっぽど嫌なのかと。
Yeah, well, you've been staring at that piece between your chopsticks for a while, so I thought maybe...
いい寒ざわらね。
Oh, this mackerel is quite good.
今朝取れた直送品だ。味わって食いやがれ。
Yeah, it just came in this morning. Make sure you taste that goodness before you
も
swallow.
ちろん。ご飯が進む。
Of course. Makes the rice taste even better.
おかわりもらえる？
Could I have another bowl?
あ、はい。
Oh, sure.
どうぞ。
Here.
ありがとう。
Thanks.
なんであてがおめえのご飯よそってやらなきゃいけねえんだ。
I was about to say, wow, they're getting along really well. Oh, goodness. The line I was gonna say that, we get this. Oh, my goodness. All right. Wait, just a goddamn minute. Why the fuck am I topping your bowl?
うるさいやつね。
What's the
は
big
い
deal?
はい。じゃあもう頼みません。
Fine. I won't ask you.
ミド、おかわりいる？
Mito, would you like more rice?
そうだな。
Please.
もらおう。
はい。
Here you go.
すまん。
Thank you.
どうした？
Laughing? What is
う
it?
ん。こういうのもいいなって
Nothing.
ちょっと思っただけ。
Just thinking this is a nice change of pace.
そうか。
地獄のように腹が立ちます。
Hot anger's boiling within.
なんなのよあなた。頼めば怒るし、頼まなくても怒るし。
I thought you didn't want to be bothered. Now you're whining about being ignored?
わがままいっぱいすぎない？
It's rather selfish, don't you think?
違うわ。あての怒りは正しい怒りだ。ねえ、分かってよ。お願いだから分かってよ。
Salty Chachamaru. Good stuff, good stuff. No, I have every right to be pissed. I mean, come on, look at it from my perspective.
わかんないし。
No, thank you.
この子どっか行かないかしら。
We put her out with the garbage.
おめえのさすがは剣と言わざるを得ない冷血ぶりにはちゃちゃまるさんもタジタジですよ。つうかあまりにもナチュラルな態度に騙されて今の今まで気づかなかったが。
Fine, fine, I give up. Guess I should know better than to expect compassion for a cold lump of metal like you. Speaking of which, it should have been obvious, but you covered it up like a pro.
何？
What are you talking about?
おめえ剣だろ。なんで飯食ってんだよ。
You're Tsurugi, what the hell are you eating? An excellent point. It completely slipped my notice as well.
いいじゃない、食べたって。せっかく肉体化してるんだから。
I have a human body now. Why shouldn't I eat?
激しく無駄な気がするんだが。
That's a lot of good food going to waste.
そうでもないのよ。こうやって摂取した栄養素は熱量に変換して私の新金にいくらか蓄えておけ
It's
る
not
し。
wasted at all. I can convert food into energy and store it in my shingane.
そうなのか。
You can? It's not a waste to eat.
もちろん本物の
Not
肉
as
体に比べ
efficiently
た
as
ら
you can, of course.
変換効率はあまり良くないけどね。
This way you're just like, have another bowl, please.
具体的にはどんなもん？
Just how efficient are you?
米俵一つで普通の人間が小皿一杯分のご飯から得られる程度の熱量。
For rice, I can extract about as much energy from one bushel as a human would a single bowl.
謝れ！お百姓さんに謝れ！そして二度と食うな！
That's so bad! That's so bad! An entire bushel of rice? Oh my god. How many kilos of rice is that? How much is a bushel? That's gotta be like 10 kilos of rice. That's so inefficient. That's like, you could have like several months worth of rice, and she's like, yeah, it'd be like the equivalent of a bowl of rice for me. So bad.
何よ。残したって無駄になるだけでしょ。もったいないじゃない。
Well, better than letting it go to waste, right? It's not doing any good just sitting here.
裏庭へ捨ててダンゴムシの餌にした方がまだしも宇宙船地球号的には有意義ですよ。
I'd rather feed it to the worms out back. I'm sure Mother Nature would approve.
嫌よね。こういうへりくつを並べて意味もなく人を傷つけるやつって。
Some people will find any excuse to put others down.
あーでは間違ってね。絶対に間違ってね。
Not wrong, David. Back me up here, bro.
つうかってさっきから何度叫んでるんだちくしょ
I wish I didn't have to keep shouting like this. Although I'm not without sympathy for the general's objections, speaking up on her behalf would likely cause severe difficulties for me down the line. It's best to stay silent. Besides, however wasteful Muramasa eating might be from a conservationist point of view, the fact remains any additional energy, no matter how small the amount, will help narrow the gap between us and Ginsego. If it'll increase our chances by even a fraction of a percent, then it's needful. Plain and simple. It's especially true now with my efforts having failed. Muga, the absence of self.
ミド？
Mido?
なんかまた固まってたね。さっきからどうしたの？
You spaced out again there. What's wrong?
少々考え事がありまして。
I was thinking
インチキ坊主に言われたこと？
about what that awful monk
から
said.
かわれた節があるのも事実だが、やはりあれは
Mockery
忠告
aside,
であり、
I
助
believe
言
his
であったの
counsel
だと思う。
was sincere.
置いてけぼりです。
I'm out of the loop, please.
ごめんなさい。
Oh, sorry.
そうね。ミドがそう思う
She
なら。
apologizes but doesn't offer an explanation. Oh, how rude. Anyway, Mido, if that's really how you feel.
謝るだけかよ。説明してくれないのかよ。
If you're sorry, then explain. Exactly.
あなたには関係ないもの。
None of your business.
家主権限で仲間外れ禁止を命ずる。一名かっこ悪い。
This is my house and I say no leaving people out of the conversation. That's bullying, and bullying is bad, okay?
というわけでお兄さん。
How did it settle? Can you
何
bring me
があ
up
った
to
の？
speed?
は
Alright. Though her motivations remain a mystery, the general is Ginsego's ally, perhaps not the best person to ask for advice. However, I can't afford to let an opportunity for progress slip by. At the very least, explaining it will help improve my own understanding of the matter. I start from the beginning. Okay, a simple story explaining what the monk said. I wonder if she hates it or not.
英雄になれってことだね。
In other words, you've got to become a hero? After I finish, the general sums it up in one sentence.
英雄。
A hero.
Mm.
Yep.
ハゲ坊主。珍しくいいこと言ったもんだ。そりゃ確かにお兄さんに必要な助言だよ。
Sounds to me like that sorry excuse for a monk gave some good advice for once. The general nods to herself in approval, and I, on the other hand, feel my frown growing deeper by the second. Muga, the monk said, the absence of self achieved by subsuming one's will in the greater will of humanity as a whole. Like Muso, it promises the emptiness of heart and mind that's key to perceiving the flow of battle at a level beyond the mundane. The Neo-Confucian scholar Yang Wang Ming teaches that all men have an instinctive sense of right and wrong at the core of their being. Do as it commands without doubt or reservation, ignoring the distraction of personal desire, and all will be as it should. A hero indeed, what else? Call a man who becomes the selfless instrument of the world's justice.
納得いかなそうな顔やね。
You're not convinced.
いえ、反対です。
No, the opposite.
ご見察の通り、
Muga's the path of
無
the
我と
hero,
は
as
英
you
雄
say.
の道。無双と同様、自分には縁遠いものと理解しました。
Like Muso, it is not a path I can follow. A mass murderer declaring himself savior of the world, a tasteless joke if there ever was one. And then you have to follow the law of balance. No, I'll have to find another way.
そんなはずはないっしょ。
You know that's not true. Sorry.
と、
お兄さんはこれまでだって散々やってきた。英雄。
What you've been doing all along, isn't it? Playing the hero?
世間で噂になってるの知らないの？
Don't you know what people
赤
say
い
about
武
you?
者。
Call you the
結
Crimson
構有
Musha?
名だよ。
I've
それ
heard.
は、
Given her
聞いた
close
ことがあり
relationship
ます
with
が。
Kinsego, it's no surprise the General would be familiar with my activities over these past 2 years. It gave me pause with a flash of memory, the image of a journalist named Tokita Mitsuo. He too called me the Crimson Musha before I killed him.
自分の引き起こした事件の表層的な部分が一人歩きして生まれた風聞に
They're
過ぎ
merely
ま
the
せん。
result of taking my actions at face
ま
value.
るで
They
実
have no
質
way
の
of
ない
knowing
故
what
障です。
kind of man I truly am.
火のないところに煙は立たんからね。英雄呼ばわりされるからにはされる理由があるんだと思うよ。
Where there's smoke, there's fire. They wouldn't be calling you a hero unless they had good reason.
心外です。
It's nonsense.
不愉快？
You don't like it?
はい。
No. Put it mildly, calling me a hero is an insult to everyone I've killed.
でもお兄さんは不愉快だからってだけで人の言葉を跳ねつけたりしないっしょ。
You're not
そこに甘えて話を続けるあてなのでやった。
You're not the kind of guy who shuts people out because you don't like what they say, so this is where I keep talking and you keep listening. Okay.
律儀者が横着者に勝てない理由を目の前で見せられてる気分ね。
Time for suffering. It's an excellent example of why an honest man shouldn't argue against someone with no scruples.
閣下。無論、お言葉は真摯に聞かせていただきます。し
General,
かし、
I will of course
Okay,
listen to
Rilka,
anything you have to
Doka.
say, but I
Mata
can't
betsu no
promise to agree with you.
理にかなってない話なら聞かんよってこ
Won't
とでし
accept
ょ。
an illogical argument, in other words?
要は、
Precisely.
理なんて単純明快。三段論法で話そうか？
Logic's easy. Shall I give it to you as a syllogism?
己のためではなく世のために戦うのが英雄。戦いたくないお兄さんが戦ってきたのは世の中のため。
All
した
men
が
who
っ
fight
て
for
お
the
兄
world
さんは英
instead
雄
of
で
for
ある。
themselves are heroes. You fight to save the world even though you don't want to. Therefore, you're a hero.
以上。
Kagiaki just like snapping his chopsticks together, maybe crushing them in his hand.
どっか間違ってる？
Did I get something wrong?
違います。自分の戦いは、あくまで自分の都合で。
Are purely my own.
お兄さんは戦いたかった？
Do you want to fight? I thought at first this was another topic to fill the silence. I was wrong. The general's eyes burn with an unearthly passion. I found myself unable to look away.
やりたくてやってたの？罪もない連中を殺したり、妹と戦ったり。
Did you want to kill all those innocent people? Do you want to kill your own sister?
それは、
That's not the point.
そういう問題では。
Word games, I know. She's couching things in terms that suit her goals. My battles, my crimes, they're all to serve my purpose. The duty is mine, the responsibility is mine. Not the world's and not humanity's. She's merely trying to rattle me about pretending like what I feel matters, when in fact it doesn't. Knowing that, why listen?
お兄さんは本当はそんなことしたくなかった。
You didn't want to do any of those things.
あのガキども、あの姉妹を嫌々ながら殺しやがった。
Orimachi calling him out. The callbacks, yep, good stuff. Killed those kids, those little girls, and you didn't even want to?
したくないけどやったんだ。それが世の中のためだから。
You did them anyway. Why? Because the world needed you to.
そうしないとたくさんの人間が死ぬから。
Because if you hadn't, many more people would have died.
違う。
No. She speaks truth, a truth, but however right her fragment of understanding may be, it justifies nothing. Whatever good may come of my quest, I'm no hero. I must not become a hero, but by her definition, he is.
ミド。
Mido.
ねえお兄さん
Listen,
こいつは
Oni-san.
鉄頭鉄尾
It's
単純明
really
快な話なのさ
very simple.
お兄さんはややこしく考えすぎてるそれじゃあいつまでたってもお姫に勝てないよ
You're thinking way too hard about everything. You'll never beat the princess like that. The general's voice is soft and gentle. I feel no pressure from her, no bite, only deep concern and affection. Instinct warns me, this is a demon hungry for my soul.
お兄さんはこれまで嫌なのを我慢して戦ってきた
Fight the
多く
pain
の
you've
人を
kept of the
救って
fight.
きた
You saved hundreds, thousands of
英雄の
people.
資格は十分だね
You have every right to call yourself a hero.
でもお姫には勝てずにいる
But you still can't beat the
な
princess.
んでだろう
It doesn't make sense.
英雄は魔王に勝つと決まってる世界がそう望むから必ずそうなる
The hero always wins against the evil conqueror. That's the way the world wants it to be. That's the way it's gotta be.
なのにお兄さんは勝てない
So why can't you win?
それはお兄さんが英雄になりきれていないからだよ
You haven't accepted. You are a hero. Accept I'm a
お
hero.
兄さんは戦
You
いた
don't
く
want to
ない
fight.
本当はお姫と戦いたくない殺したくない
You don't want to kill the princess. Of course you don't. She's your sister.
心の底で
Deep down inside,
そう思ってる
you want her to live.
だから勝てないこれは当たり前
Of course you can't touch her. Your heart won't let you.
殺したくないなんて思ってたら勝てるわけないよ技量がどうの性能がどうのなんて以前の問題だってお兄さんはまずその迷いを捨てないと
No one can defeat an enemy they don't want to kill. Even if you had the strength to match her, you'd still fail. The first thing you have to do is rid yourself of doubt.
無我
And Muga. Yep.
そう
That's it. Remove that self-doubt.
自我を捨てて個人の情を捨てて
Abandon self. Forget your feelings.
お姫を世界の敵とだけ思う殺さなくてはならない
As an enemy of the world,
魔
a
王だ
force
と
of evil.
認める
One who must be destroyed, nothing more.
英雄になるんだならなきゃいけない
I'm a hero, it's the only way.
それはお兄さんの役目だ
It's your duty too, right?
そうでしょ
なぜ
Why?
あなたは銀星号の味方ではないのかなぜ
Aren't you getting
そ
sick
ん
of
な
that one?
話をする
Why are you telling me this?
お姫のことは大好きだけど
Oh, I love the
味
princess.
方っていうのは違う
But
な
I'm not her ally.
お姫に味方なんているわけない味方がいたら敵もいるってことになるで村正の戒律は敵味方を必ずどちらも殺させる
She has no allies. If she did, she'd also have enemies to go with them, and then she'd have to kill them both.
果てがお姫の味方ならとっくに死んでなきゃおかしいよお姫は本当に敵意なんてなしに人を殺してるんだ
If she really saw me as her friend, I'd be long dead already. But the truth is, the princess never kills with malice, and thus is never bound by the law of balance.
それはもう分かってるでしょ
You figured that out already, haven't you?
わてが味方するとすればむしろお兄さん
If I had to choose sides, I'd choose you.
自分に
Wait, me?
善悪相殺の戒律があるのはこっちも同じなんだけど
We're also bound to kill our friends, you know.
構わない
Then kill
お
me.
兄さんが望んでくれるなら
That's what you want.
英雄になって魔王と戦うなら
If you're willing to become a hero and slay the mad conqueror,
いいよ一
then
緒に
let's
行こ
go. You and me. I feel her breath against my ear, hot and sickly sweet.
うわてとお兄さんとで
Together, she whispers,
お姫を殺そう
we'll kill the princess. Where are we now? Okay. Oh, okay. We're with Muramasa's perspective. She's outside breathing. Breath is a sensation I'd long forgotten, and though I haven't had much opportunity to enjoy it since regaining my human body, my sigh is not intended as practice. Probably just relaxing, enjoying life. But I think this here is a great opportunity to take a break.